Justin and Timberlake HIV. Now, we're going to get far into this. Who holds the keys to Hollywood? Who threw the wild parties? Who threw all the right parties? Now, this is circulating. I don't want to say it's a rumor, but they say Diddy holds the keys in Hollywood. Now, what Katt Williams exposed that he gave Justin and Timberlake HIV, and you have Jay-Z and Diddy and more. So stay tuned, and I'm gonna roll the footage here. Get ready to, you know what I mean, get some of that nice popcorn soda, because Katt Williams exposed it all. So we're going to get started. Before I get started, make sure you guys share the live, man. Enjoy the live, man. Cause this is some real stuff that we gotta talk about, and we gotta talk about what Kansas Owen feels about how the industry, you know what I mean, is filled with homosexuals. 90% of the industry was filled with homosexuals, and she is very confident with her opinion. So in an article, Candace Owens came out to the black culture that she feels that the industry is filled 95% of homosexuals. So I'm gonna get started rolling this clip. You guys make sure you guys share this video, like the video. We about to get started.
For a court appearance on July 26, 2024. During the proceedings,
Truvada and Coke in his system. So what is
This is a popular thing in the gay community, and Truvada is actually an anti-AIDS drug. So make of that what you will. That's all I'm gonna say.
Crack had done for them, what cocaine had done for them, what heroin had done for them, what speed had done for them. Nobody had them stories. Everybody's story was, I had my life together.
The ever-controversial Katt Williams is back in the spotlight, and this time he's making some explosive claims about Justin Timberlake. In a shocking revelation, Katt Williams allegedly exposed the names of high-profile celebrities who he alleges are connected to Justin Timberlake's rumored HIV status. From Jay-Z to Diddy, the accusations are flying, and the details are as wild as you can imagine. So what exactly is going on? It all started on June 18th, 2024, when Justin Timberlake was arrested in Sag Harbor, New York, for driving while intoxicated, DWI.
Justin Timberlake was arrested for driving while intoxicated in the Hamptons, according to law enforcement. The arrest occurred Monday night in Sag Harbor, New York, and he will be in court on Tuesday.
The incident began when Timberlake ran a stop sign shortly after leaving a gathering at the American Hotel. Police followed him and observed erratic driving, prompting the stop. During the arrest, officers noted signs of intoxication, including bloodshot eyes and the smell of alcohol on his breath. Timberlake admitted to having one martini, but refused to take a breathalyzer test, leading to his arrest and subsequent arraignment. Timberlake was released without bail and was scheduled for a court appearance on July 26, 2024. During the proceedings, Timberlake was formally charged with driving while intoxicated and running a stop sign in Sag Harbor, New York. The arrest occurred after police observed him driving erratically and detected signs of intoxication, such as bloodshot eyes and the smell of alcohol. Timberlake admitted to having consumed alcohol but refused a breathalyzer test, leading to his arrest. At the virtual court hearing, Timberlake's lawyer, Edward Burke Jr., argued for leniency, citing his client's clean record and cooperative behavior during the arrest. The judge set the next court date for further proceedings and required Timberlake to complete an alcohol education program as a condition for his release. Despite the legal issues, Timberlake continued his Forget Tomorrow World Tour, addressing the arrest during a concert in Chicago. He acknowledged the difficult week and thanked his fans for their unwavering support, emphasizing the bond he shares with them. But the story doesn't end there. Things took a bizarre turn when a post from a parody account on the social media platform X, known as Poo Crave, claimed that Timberlake had Molly, pop cocaine, and Truvada, an HIV medication, in his bloodstream at the time of his arrest. You heard that right. The post claimed that Timberlake, the same guy who brought us Cry Me a River and Can't Stop the Feeling, was on a cocktail of drugs that included Truvada. For those not in the know, Truvada is a medication used as pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP, to prevent HIV infection. The internet exploded with this news, with fans and gossip columns speculating wildly about Timberlake's health and lifestyle.
Poppers is a popular thing in the gay community, and Truvada is actually an anti-AIDS drug. So make of that what you will. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's rewind a bit and look at Timberlake's history with drugs. This isn't the first time the pop icon has been associated with drug use.
So, in other words, so Justin didn't really look after himself before he was homeless. So at one point he was homeless. So his immune system wasn't in the best shape anyway. And adding drug use on top of that just make it worse. Plus, we don't know that he definitely got it from what he did on the streets. For we all know his mother boyfriend could have given him HIV when he was molested. But I will agree that Justin's death was a total cop-out. I see your point. I would still think that shows the timeline of his HIV illness for the purpose of the sad ending. Many people think that Diddy, allegedly gave Justin Bieber and Timberlake HIVs. It was said, wardens came out and said that Diddy was sick so bad that they said that he caught HIV and AIDS. Could he caught it while he was already out before he went in? So that's the question. Let's roll this clip here, man. We definitely got to dive into this. We got a lot to cover today.
Use. Back in 2006, Timberlake gave a no-holds-barred interview to Observer Music Monthly where he admitted to experimenting with drugs. He famously said, "I've done way too many drugs already. I've already inhaled, and who knows," he added. "I'm just like everyone else. I get completely plastered. I've done my fair share of drugs, and I've been caught places with my pants down. It's just, I make sure there are no cameras around."
You see that? He was caught with his pants down. That means he went to these parties. He went to these white parties. You can't make this all up, fam. See with Candace Owens, she was on the black culture so hard, she says, and loud, was wrong and offensive again. This time, Ice Cube had response because Ice Cube, he don't represent the gatekeepers. So he responds that he was a self-made rapper. So in his response, so Ice Cube said a few things straight after departing from the Daily Wire conservative commentators. Candace Owens had been desperate to remain confident by any means possible. Most recently, she shared on her opinions about the origins of black gangster rap for her reason on X. So it says gangster rap was never a black culture. It was created by the feds who preferred the deals to homosexual black men in prison and then turned him into official, homosexual, which means celebrities was turned into being homosexual. Now it says the goal was to create false idols to destroy black American values. It was to destroy our values. So meaning Diddy did hold the keys of Hollywood at one point. He hold these parties, these white clubs. So why see Justin Bieber said he pulled down his pants. So what that say? That say that they all went into these parties, man. He pulled down his pants and he was fabricated up. You know what I mean? He said in a statement with his own mouth that he pulled down his pants. Let's go back to what he's saying.
With drug use. Back in 2006, Timberlake gave a no-holds-barred interview to Observer Music Monthly where he admitted to experimenting with drugs. He famously said, "I've done way too many drugs already. I've already inhaled, and who knows," he added. "I'm just like everyone else. I get completely plastered. I've done my fair share of drugs, and I've been caught places with my pants down. It's just, I make sure there are no cameras around." These revelations shocked fans at the time, revealing a darker side to Timberlake that contrasted sharply with his boy next door image. Timberlake's candidness about his past drug use painted a picture of a young star grappling with the pressures of fame and the temptations that come with it. Fast forward to now, and it seems like his past has come back to haunt him in the wake of these new allegations. The inclusion of Truvada in the list of substances allegedly found in Timberlake's system is particularly intriguing. Truvada is specifically used to prevent HIV infection, raising all sorts of questions about why Timberlake would be taking it. The speculation has been rampant. Some suggest it could be a precautionary measure, while others whisper about more scandalous reasons. Let's not forget the other substances mentioned in the rumor: Molly, poppers, and Molly, also known as MDMA, is a popular party drug known for its euphoric.
So at 16 years old, it was incredibly for Justin to tell his parents that he was gay. Both his mother and father was supportive, but worried how their son will be treated. There was concerns that there will be suspicion on Justin Bieber's and his preference. Although Justin is summoned by supportive families and friends, he had not been immune on anything, but he was a member of the LGBTO, lesbian, gays, bisexual, transgenders, queers. So the community faced, including his hometown city, Philippians. He was seen firsthand in how young people who identify are forced to impress who they are or risk facing harsh discrimination and violence. He seen how they are. So it says here he left with a few safe space where they can be themselves, meaning struggle to access service, including HIV prevention, testing, and treatment. So Justin says many people continue to falsely believe that the love between two people who identify as the same gender put them at risk of contacting HIV. I want to say this to you, man. First of all, man, when you at these gay parties, man, and you having sex, most of these people have sex with no protection, man on man. And, like I said, he had a hard time growing up. He told his parents he was gay at 16. You can imagine. Yeah, Justin Bieber, he was one of the guys that was young into these parties, man. He was a youngster, and, you can't make this stuff up, man. Candace Owens saying about the whole rap culture, man. It was created by the feds who preferred deals to homosexuals, black men's in prison, and then turned them into homosexuals.
Effects. Poppers, a type of inhalant, are often used recreationally to enhance intimate experiences. And cocaine, well, we all know its reputation as a powerful and addictive stimulant. The idea that Timberlake could be using all of these drugs paints a wild and chaotic picture of his lifestyle. But where did these rumors come from? And why did they gain so much traction? The original post from Poocrave was a satirical jab, not meant to be taken seriously. However, in today's fast-paced social media environment, the line between satire and reality often blurs. The post was picked up and shared by numerous users and even some media outlets without proper fact-checking, leading to widespread belief in these sensational claims. The impact of these rumors has been massive. Fans are divided, with some expressing concern and others in disbelief. The speculation about Timberlake's health and lifestyle choices has reached fever pitch. Could it be that Timberlake is hiding a serious health condition? Or is this just another example of how easily misinformation can spread in the digital age? Timberlake has
I choose violence every day.
The investigation begins.
My friends are incapable of murder. They're my family.
never publicly disclosed any health issues that would require him to take Truvada. Moreover, Truvada is a medication specifically used for HIV prevention, and there has been no credible evidence to suggest that Timberlake has ever needed or used this drug. But in the world of celebrity gossip, absence of evidence often fuels even more speculation. Let's delve deeper into Timberlake's past to understand how these rumors might have gained traction. His 2006 interview wasn't the only time he spoke about his drug use. Over the years, Timberlake has been candid about his struggles with the pressures of fame and the temptations that come with it. In a 2011 interview, he mentioned that he partied a lot in his younger days and that it was a phase he went through. He said, "I had my fun with it, but I don't miss it."
Drugs while I'm doing interviews.
Right?
I'm completely drunk right now.
Yeah.
But I try.
Timberlake's journey from a teen heartthrob to a mature artist has been filled with highs and lows. He's faced his fair share of controversies, from his infamous Super Bowl performance with Janet Jackson to rumors about his personal life. But through it all, Timberlake has managed to maintain a relatively clean public image, which makes these recent allegations even more shocking. As we dig deeper, it's clear that Timberlake's past admissions about drug use have fueled the fire of these current.
Look, you want to be part of the gatekeeper, man, you got to do these rituals, these homosexual acts, man. Cameron Owens said gangster rap was never a black culture thing. It was created by the feds who preferred deals to homosexuals. Black man's in prison then turned them into being this homosexual. You can't make this stuff up. Let's go back to this.
Rumors. His candidness about experimenting with drugs in his younger years provides a backdrop that makes the wild claims seem more plausible to some. But does this mean Timberlake is currently living a double life filled with secret drug use and hidden health issues? The jury's still out on that one. In any case, some fans have started speculating that Timberlake's use of these substances could be connected to the infamous Diddy gay parties that have been taking place in the industry for a while now. In a recent revelation, actor Omar Gooding shared an intriguing and somewhat cautionary tale about his experience partying with music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Gooding, known for his roles in Smart Guy and Baby Boy, opened up about the encounter.
So this is why I said Diddy held the parties. Diddy held the key of Hollywood. He also held 1,000 baby oils in his house. He had a house of baby oil. He had all the fragrancy. Everything a person can imagine what they need. If you want to lube her up, he had the baby oil for you. You want to lube her up, all right. He had everything. Did he hold the keys to Hollywood, man? That's why his name is mentioned. That's why Katt Williams exposed it. Let's go on. Let's
During
go.
an interview. His anecdote paints a vivid picture of the night he hung out with Diddy, capturing both the excitement and the underlying apprehensions. "Oh, I hung out with Puffy in London," Gooding began, referring to Diddy by his well-known moniker. "What happened? I remember we were in a lobby together the next morning. The funny thing is, the next morning he was there, and his bodyguard walked up to me and looked over at me all crazy. And me and my cousin were standing there looking at him like, 'You all right, bro?'" Gooding described the moment with a mix of amusement and surprise. The bodyguard's intense demeanor was a stark contrast to the previous night's revelry. Despite the stern warning, the interaction ended on a friendly note. Gooding and his cousin were invited to continue the party. Gooding accepted the invitation, but was intentional in keeping the festivities in a public space with cameras and witnesses.
Hang out with us. And we hung out, we had a ball. You know, it was all in the lobby with cameras and witnesses, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's nothing private. We didn't go there and come up in the room later.
While Gooding refrained from making any explicit accusations, his story subtly alludes to the whispers surrounding Diddy's private gatherings. The rumors, though unconfirmed, suggest that some male celebrities have felt trapped in compromising situations during these high-end Hollywood events. Another person who spoke about these gatherings is Cameron. While speaking in an interview, Cam revealed that he attended a party on Star Island in Miami.
I went to a party on Star Island in Miami where P. Diddy has a private residence.
Where Diddy resides. The rapper went on to speak about how he took a bunch of ecstasy since he saw everyone taking it.
I took a whole bunch of ecstasy because everyone...
Afterward, Cam allegedly started looking for the bathroom.
am on ecstasy and I'm trying to find the bathroom and I can't find the bathroom and I just kind of like go down a flight of stairs and now I'm in like the inner windings of the mansion because most of it's going down by the pool. So I get.
The rapper also talked about how the house was some sort of a maze, making it hard for an intoxicated person to find his way out.
I get lost and I'm in like just a maze of rooms. Now I'm looking for the bathroom.
Things then took a weird twist when Cam came across a room where all the creepy stuff was taking place.
And in that room there are a bunch of men, and they're all kind of like very like Romanesque.
Cameron explained that he felt as though he had interrupted something. He then added that the scene felt like it was a prelude to an orgy.
That'd be weird. Right. Like you almost think that they should be feeding each other grapes.
Things got creepier when Diddy spotted Cameron.
I make eye contact with him, like a gigantic bouncer comes up. Because a lot of people turned and looked at me because it was very unexpected that like a fat guy with an act.
Cameron was clearly traumatized by what he saw. He even said that he knew for sure that Diddy was high on ecstasy and that he was actually gay. The 47-year-old rapper then revealed that Diddy never forgot his face. In fact, during one of Diddy's interviews, he noticed Cam in the background.
I think he was only in a movie.
Right. At least recently.
Yes. He literally stops the interview and he points at me all the way in the back and he goes, "Yo, you, my man." And everyone.
What's more, Cameron revealed that Diddy later on invited him out to lunch.
Being that president invited me there before, I had lunch with him. Maybe like.
Creepy, right? Anyway, in recent years, Timberlake has been more known for his role as a family man than for any scandalous behavior. He and his wife, Jessica Biel, share 2 sons, Silas and Phineas, and Timberlake often posts heartfelt messages about his family on social media. Just days before his arrest, he celebrated Father's Day with a touching post dedicated to his sons, expressing his love and gratitude for being their father. In his Father's Day post, Timberlake wrote, "I learn more about myself every day just because you both chose me to be your daddy. I will always be there for you through your peaks and valleys, to lift you up and show you how high you can take this life and to pick you up when you fall." This wholesome image of Timberlake as a loving father stands in stark contrast to the wild rumors about his drug use and health. But let's get back to the juicy part. The idea that Timberlake could be using Truvada, Molly, poppers, and cocaine all at once is the kind of sensational story that tabloids live for. The cocktail of drugs.
See, this is what they don't tell you. After it been years and years and years, these people then never came out the closet. For as long as we known about HIV and AIDS, people had to handle the reality of coming out as living with HIV. Disclosing HIV status to families and friends is often difficult, and when you are in the public eye coming out as living with HIV, add a major decision about whether you want the whole world to know. Many celebrities have chosen to share the part of themselves with the public. Often those choices help the rest of us. By coming out, it can humanize the virus of many people who don't otherwise know, or anybody who openly living with HIV. They can help increase awareness and fight. Here, run down to some of the most famous people living with HIV, both today and years. Billy Potter, the Emmy Award-winning performance as Pray Tell in the background television series Pose made him a household name, but Potter had been a star his entire career. That makes his May 2021 disclosure in the Hollywood Reporters that he'd been living with HIV since 2007 so compelling. And the list just goes on. We can just continue with those words. Porter confronted his trauma about having been previously rejected by Broadway and the music industry for demanding that he been celebrated as a black queer man, and took a stand not only for himself, but for the entire community of the people who are living with AIDS. And this came from Canvas Owen again. Gangster rap was never a black culture. It was created by the feds, who preferred a deal to homosexual black men in prison and then turned them into our official homosexual. The celebrities' goal was to create false idols, to destroy Black American values. Let's think about it. Jay-Z, he didn't support the black culture. All this was a cult Illuminati thing that they followed, but he didn't do nothing for the black culture. Even he didn't represent the racial injustice here. You see? And see, they put this in your face. We'll go back March. You remember the gay rights when you had LGBT, you had them marching back in what in 19, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was back in, I can remember, I can't be exact with the date, but there's a protest, something that we don't do as black people, protests of you know what I mean, racial things that we see in America. But yeah, Candace Owens put out gangster rap was never a black culture. It was created by the feds who preferred deals to homosexuals. So the homosexual, what you got the Rothschilds, you got the Jews, you know what I mean, who own the whole black culture. Turn them out as puppets. You can't make this stuff up, fam. All these rappers that's living with AIDS have never came out the closet. And the game is one. See, Jaguar Wright, you know what I mean? She knows 20. And the game is one. So who gave out this HIV? If Diddy held the keys in Hollywood and everybody was at these parties, all was attended at these parties, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. I just want to say you can't make this stuff up, man. She said the game was won. You got Justin Timberlake. You got more of these people living with HIV and AIDS, man. If you do the math, just think how many did Diddy spread. This thing spread like wildfire, like that wildfire that happened over there in LA, man. This thing spread like wildfire, spread like cancer, man.
Drugs mentioned in the rumor suggest a lifestyle that's out of control, filled with risky behavior and hidden secrets. It's the kind of narrative that keeps people clicking and talking, regardless of the truth behind it. The rumors about Timberlake's drug use and the inclusion of Truvada have opened up a Pandora's box of speculation. Is there more to Timberlake's health than he's letting on? Is he hiding a secret battle with HIV? Or is this all just a wild fabrication that got out of hand? Meanwhile, fans have been quick to connect the dots. For starters, fans are convinced that Timberlake would not have been charged if the officer who caught him knew who he was.
Justin Timberlake was unrecognizable to the officer who arrested him. Timberlake told police he only had one martini when he was arrested in New York for driving while intoxicated. One source says the officer who took him...
The rookie Sag Harbor cop who pulled over pop superstar Justin Timberlake for alleged drunk driving is well known in the ritzy town. Officer Michael Arkinson, who turns 24 this month, stopped the sexy back singer Tuesday morning after allegedly seeing him blow a stop sign and swerve in the right lane. In just 3 months on the force, Arkinson has earned a reputation among Sag Harbor's wealthy residents, earning nicknames like the Sag Harbor Nazi and Little Redheaded for his strict enforcement of traffic laws. Despite Timberlake's global fame, Arkinson, who wasn't even born when Timberlake joined NSYNC in 1995, had no clue with whom he was dealing. By the time Timberlake's hit Bye 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 topped the charts in 2000, Arkinson was just a toddler. A writer from Shelter Island who identified himself as Spencer recounted an unpleasant encounter with Arkinson while searching for a parking spot in Sag Harbor and making a U-turn. "I was surprised he pulled me over," Spencer revealed. "It was off-season and no one was around. It was a D-head move. I felt like he pulled me over just for the sake of doing it." Although Spencer received a warning, Arkinson wasn't so lenient on their next run-in. Pulled over for talking on his cell phone, Spencer protested that he was using speakerphone. "He told me I should have been using Bluetooth," Spencer told the outlet. Despite his explanations, Arkinson slapped him with a $145 ticket. "I thought he would give me a break. It really interrupted my workout and lunch plans." I think Justin Timberlake was a victim of over-aggressive Sag Harbor police, he added. Meanwhile, a longtime Sag Harbor resident recalled Arkinson's early days as a traffic control officer, or brownie, before he joined the police force. Everyone knew where the cops would park on Main Street, the resident revealed, adding that Arkansans' ignorance of Timberlake's fame was understandable. If that is not your taste in music, how would you know? In any case, this is not the first scandal that Justin Timberlake is facing in the recent months. Back in May, a lady by the name Iris Timberlake came out claiming to be his daughter. Iris shared a birth certificate and horror stories growing up under Justin's parentage. However, some TikTok users claim that she's a fraud. The 22-year-old woman, who claims she was born on Feb. 4, 2002, says that her name is Iris Timberlake and shared a birth certificate with Justin Randall Timberlake as the father. Throughout her Instagram account, she shares unsettling and inappropriate anecdotes about growing up with Justin as a father.
So she posted this screenshot of her 23andMe DNA test saying that Chris Timberlake is her second cousin. So she's genetically related to a Chris Timberlake.
Her story is that her mother and Justin met in 2001 when Justin was about 20 years old, and that he paid off her mother to keep their relationship and daughter's identity secret. While that doesn't sound too far out, Iris continues making allegations against Justin, going as far as to claim physical, verbal, and other forms of AB. In screenshots shared by...
Now, I want you guys to understand, you guys heard of Charlie Sheen. Now, Charlie Sheen, he was known as something as a Hollywood bad boy. And he talked openly about drug use, lots of sex, and sex with sex workers. See, Charlie Sheen was forced to come out why a National Enquirer was preparing a story that will outdate his HIV and AIDS status, proving that his HIV is still negatively affected people living with HIV today. So when he did come out, Sheen shared that he was on medication, that he was undetectable. So it says one study estimate that Charlie Sheen disclosed was a more effective HIV awareness campaign than any that city health department could cook up. In the 24 hours following his disclosure, Sheen announced that HIV search went up 471 that day, and the searches 1.25 million included words like condom, HIV tests, and HIV symptoms. So even Magic Johnson, it will be hard to talk about these athletes living with HIV and not bring up Magic Johnson. When Magic Johnson, one basketball greatest player, came out as living with HIV in 1991, it was a moment of HIV awareness. He was a strong, physical, able athlete coming out at a time before we had effective HIV medicine, when the most common person living with HIV was dying from this HIV. So we have the next name was Rock Hudson, was diagnosed with AIDS related death in 1985, came out as a shock to many. Before he came out, he publicly, team says that he has liver cancer. Hudson came forth in July 1985 and was at the time the first major, the first major statement that Hudson gave to say that he was living with AIDS. Now, Hudson died a few months later in October 1985 at the age of 55. For many, seeing Hudson was a far cry for his idol. He had been barely a decade prior, the week of his death. His giant co-star, Elizabeth Taylor, became well-known HIV activist and led the fighting within. See, Hollywood to raise money for research. See, it's like Hollywood became an egg pandemic. You got all these freak parties and these things they do. and it's more. It's more. This is why when Jaguar Wright came out, she said there's more rappers living with AIDS and they're not coming up telling you. Game, for instance, the rapper Game, she says, and this shocked me. This goes back to him putting on these skirts and you know what I mean, these G-strings. He was once a male stripper. You can't make this stuff up, man. All these artists was at one man's party, man. When I said Puff Daddy held the key in Hollywood, he held the key in Hollywood, man. Hollywood's own, you know what I mean? You see nothing but black gays in the industry, man. They turn them out first. You want this money? It's part of being with the gatekeepers. See, that's why Ice Cube tells you he was never a gatekeeper. We call it reality rap, he says. The industry coined it a gangster rap. See, the fans wanted gangster rap, and that what they got, the feds didn't write one. So he says, I'm a real MC. He says, I was never with the feds. The feds never did write my songs. I'm a real MC, gangster rapper. Let's go. We got a lot to cover, man. Look about this, man. You got to bend over to get over. Now, Warden. Now let's get on the Warden. Why Diddy caught HIV and refused to leave the cell? It's a lot to cover about this, man. We got the stories. We got Usher blast Diddy for giving him STD at 15.
So it looks like Diddy's situation is just worse than we could ever think. Because according to new reports, Diddy gave Usher an STD when he was just a teenager. So y'all know how there have been rumors of Diddy being involved in an inappropriate relationship with Usher. Looks like we finally have some confirmation as to what went down between them. Okay, so back in the day, Usher was signed by L.A. Reid when he was just a child. He wasn't even a teenager yet, so that gives an idea of just how long he has been in the industry. He had a great voice and everything, but when he hit puberty, his voice started to crack, and L.A. Reid was considering dropping him as an artist. Usher was able to convince Reid not to drop him, and so Reid sent Usher to live with his good friend Diddy. Usher was just 13 when he started living with Diddy, and from the very start, it was obvious that his house was no place for a child to be. He was a heavy partier, and he often exposed the young Usher to a lot of things that he shouldn't have been exposed to. The interesting thing about this is that Usher rarely talks about his experience living with Diddy and what it was like for him. Howard Stern got him to open up once, and the things that Usher said were enough to send alarm bells going off in their heads.
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and Gene, like nonstop, right?
No, not really. But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
seeing?
I
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. There were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
And before y'all start asking why his parents didn't get him out of that situation, he revealed that his parents had no idea what was going on because Diddy forced him to hide the truth from his parents.
They didn't know nothing about this. I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
At the time, Usher didn't really go into details about what happened to him with Diddy, but he did say that he would never let the same thing happen to his kids, and that's how we know that he saw and went through some pretty bad stuff.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
The first time he gave us a hint about his experience with Diddy was the time he had an interview. He was reluctant to open up about it, and the interviewer noted that Usher became surprisingly restrained. I want to save some stuff from my book one day, he said. I'll put it this way, there was a lot of sex. And I'm sure y'all saw that viral video when Diddy hinted that he and Usher used to sleep in the same bed.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes.
Or the time he said this.
Nobody else needs to take their time, boy. I see you. Yeah, fucking doing that. You were in the kitchen.
I want you guys to understand Pete to play, man. Usher seen these things at 13. He was verbally molested. You know what I mean? Just like Diddy do all his victims. See, Diddy and Usher met after the R&B singers signed a record deal with LA. Reed, who reportedly sent to Live with Diddy, real name is Sean Combs, in New York for a year. See, Usher, who headlines the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show in February, also recently released his latest album, Coming Home. He claimed in previously interviews that Reed sent him to Diddy's home in Stardale, New York, to experience a favorite camps. So we see here in 2024 interview with Rolling Stones, Usher recalled how Diddy introduced him into a total different set of sexual sex significantly. So it says sex is so hot in the industry, man. He continued claiming there was always girls around. You open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in the room having orgies. You never knew what was going to happen at this point. See, Usher at 13 years old experienced all this stuff, man. All this stuff at what goes on. He said a year later, when Usher was promoting his 2016 film Hands on Stones, in which he started opposite with Robert, he appears on the Howard Stern show, where he was also questioned about his experience at Diddy's homes.
Eating all my cereal.
Well, as it turns out, that there might be some truth to the allegations after all, because Usher is also alleged to be one of Diddy's victims. Diddy's former bodyguard, Uncle Gene, has also kind of backed up this in an interview where he revealed that a lot of people in the industry knew that Diddy had a thing for young girls and boys, but they just stood by and watched him have his way.
All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this and trying to engage other men into acts with him. There was story that he was trying to get Chris Brown. There's stories about, you know, those young boys that he had, a group, B5 or something like that, trying to get them. Yo, it's a lot of stories that goes around.
And allegedly, Usher got herpes from one of the freak-off sessions when he was just 15. And Kim Porter knew about this, and she was going to put it in the book that she was writing before she passed away.
So what was in Kim's book? You want to hear it? Here it go. Now, I cannot confirm or deny what's in this book, but ain't nobody fit Natasha K. mean. So in this book, it detailed his relationships with men, footage of those encounters. It had the names of the men he slept with, a disease. Allegedly, Diddy giving Usher a disease.
You remember how some women and one man sued Usher back in 2017 for not telling them that he had herpes before engaging in intimacy with them. The lawsuits were either dismissed or settled out of court, but that was how we found out that Usher had herpes. Well, allegedly, he got an STD during one of the freak-offs with Diddy. It's unclear whether it was Diddy himself who gave him the STD or one of the many escorts. And child, you already know the internet had a lot to say. Whole time we thinking different about Usher back then, about herpes, and he got it from Diddy. I struggle to believe that's what I heard, although it's...
Diddy gave them to them all. Diddy held the keys out. He gave STD, HIV out like cancer, spread like wildfire. He gave it out, man. You can't make it up, man. Read between the lines, man. Jaguar Wright was the line. She said, man, a lot of these celebrities, this industry got HIV, living with HIV and AIDS, and they're not saying that, man. She mentioned the game too. She mentioned, yes, the game too, she mentioned.
no longer news that Usher got his herpes from intimacy between him and Diddy. And now we know where Usher got herpes from. Probably as a child too, with Diddy's sick, sad industry, y'all praise. Yeah, Diddy is going down hard after these allegations because he is already getting canceled left and right. Brands are dropping him. Nobody in Hollywood wants to associate with him. The Grammys are banning him, and he even got kicked out by his own company. This is one messy roller coaster, but y'all let me know what you think about what he did to Usher and giving him the STD, and I'll catch y'all in my next video.
Your tomato plants work, but they don't work like Wealthfront. Cash earns nearly 10 times the national average rate in your cash account. If your tomato plants work like that, they grow nearly 10 times too.
I could get $1 for every person that's called me a liar in the past 5 years. I would be financing. I'm buying my satellite next week.
All right. Here is the most recent tea, just when we thought Diddy's situation could get much messier, especially after the whole breakdown story. He is reluctant to go out of his detention cell. You read correctly. The music entrepreneur who is now incarcerated is allegedly putting a stop to legal processes by simply...
No, we're going to go back to that. Diddy refused to come out of his cell because Jaguar Wright exposed it, man. Diddy got that shit. He losing weight. He won't come out his cell, right? And they saying he's going insane. That he would probably even kill himself. You know, you gotta listen what she's saying here, man. It's deep, man. It's deeper what you think it is, man. And all these other people living with HIV and AIDS, and they're not telling you. See, this is why when you get in this industry, man up with man, and you open one door, you got another man up with another man, and what they're negotiating about. If you got a man up against another man, what they saying, what they negotiating. You know what I mean? Man, sleeping with man, all this stuff, orgies and stuff going on. Usher said this, man. You know what I mean? And, you know, this is why Q came out. He said, man, I don't represent the gatekeepers, man. And Q, he was an NWA rapper legend and one of the gangster rappers who replied to set the record straight. We call it reality rap. The industry coined it gangster rap. Q stated. So he says the fans wanted gangster rap, and that is why we got, you know what I mean, the gangster rap. This is what he's saying. This is why, you know what I mean, we gave it to them, because this is what they want to hear. But in the most part, yes, you got to understand what Candace Owens was saying about gangster rap today was never a black culture thing. Yes, we lost guys like Nipsey Hussle, Tupac, you know what I mean? And see, Ice Cube, you know what I mean? He was saying in so many words, he's self-made. He didn't represent the gatekeepers. He didn't, you know what I mean? It was no need, you know what I mean, for him to sit up and, you know what I mean, be around the gatekeepers. His music, you know what I mean, did itself, you know. He didn't never represent the gatekeepers. He didn't have no business, you know what I mean, being around the gatekeepers.
For every person that's called me a liar in the past 5 years. I would be financing. I'm buying my satellite next week.
All right. Here is the most recent tea, just when we thought Diddy's situation could get much messier, especially after the whole breakdown story. He is reluctant to go out of his detention cell. You read correctly. The music entrepreneur who is now incarcerated is allegedly putting a stop to legal processes by simply refusing to go out and take the barrage of lawsuits that are awaiting him. Antigone Curis, a co-counsel for lawyer Tony Busby, claims 2 significant cases have been impacted by Diddy's Little Jailhouse protest. Due to the severity of this rejection, Curious had to submit a letter pleading with the court to postpone crucial sessions. Originally scheduled on January 10th, it was moved to February. What's that? Thus, they are unable to provide the individual his documents. Now, recall these civil cases are not the only aspect of this.
If you're a YouTuber and you want to save hours managing your library, you need to, buddy. Come check out how you can edit your end screens, cards, and descriptions of...
Additionally, Diddy faces a criminal trial in May 2025 on some extremely severe allegations that might result in a minimum sentence of 15 to 20 years in prison. Since there are other cases pending and a federal court date has already been set, you have to ask yourself whether this is all part of a larger scheme, or is he finally beginning to break under the strain? We're just beginning to sort out this complicated issue, so stay put. Now, let's discuss the litigation Diddy has been evading, and believe me, the specifics are both outrageous and unsettling. We start with Philip Pines, a former assistant who has made some grave claims against Diddy. Pines is suing because of misbehavior and what he claims is a poisonous workplace. That has gotten out of hand between 2019 and 2021, and the tea doesn't end.
You guys got to understand, the industry is one of the most dirtiest places, man. So you got to understand, when Diddy held the keys so long, he owned Hollywood, but not just that. At some point, you know, he opened up a can. It's sad, but he opened up a can. You know what I mean? If he could have settled with Cassie, we wouldn't be talking about this. You know what I mean? Somehow Cassie opened up a Pandora. And Diddy, man, how can you go behind, you know what I mean, what you see Diddy, you know what I mean, got Cassidy and dragged her like she was some doll. Like, you know what I mean? Like she was just a doll, like just dragging her. Like, come on, man. We wouldn't be talking about this today, fam. Like, Diddy put himself in a situation that how can you know what I mean, answer that? And for the looks of things, you know, this man will have to probably testify in his trial. You know, this man Diddy will he'll probably have to, you know what I mean, end up testifying, you know, because going to a trial and not knowing, first of all, I just want to always say the states, these attorneys, you know what I mean, these lawyers and judges, I mean, you rich, but just think for a second. You might, you know, they might not, you know what I mean, know you. And you might not know them. So when you get jurors and, you know what I mean, things, it's going to be a tough situation, man. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough for him.
There, folks. Pines claimed in court filings that part of his work was getting ready for what Diddy reportedly referred to as Wild King Nights. That's a novel one. To put this into perspective, picture hotel rooms filled with baby oil, specific enhancement goods, and even gadgets you wouldn't anticipate seeing at a party. Pines claims that these evenings lasted for days, and you know who was responsible for cleaning up after them? This individual claims to have seen everything, including trashed party supplies and personal belongings. However, things become much more gloomy from here. Pines claims that Diddy forced him into he saw an intimate moment with a lady at 00220. If that wasn't shocking enough, Diddy is also accused of hanging a lady over a 17-story balcony. You read correctly, a balcony. Naturally, Diddy's defense team is launching a barrage of denials. They have deemed these accusations to be unfounded, stating that Mr. Combs has never committed any non-consensual conduct, regardless of the number of cases that are brought against him. They are steadfast in their demand that he clear his reputation in court. But let's face it, is it possible for one individual to avoid this many lawsuits without certain secrets coming to light? How do you guys feel? Is a larger unraveling about to begin? Now that we've revealed the lawsuits, let's take a peek inside the Metropolitan Detention Center to see what Diddy's life behind bars is really like. Warning, it's far different from his opulent penthouses and one private planes, but you were probably aware of it beforehand. We couldn't stop talking about that Christmas disaster, do you recall? We all wondered if Diddy's exaggerated character was finally crumbling under the strain after hearing reports of him losing it over the holiday season. Here's the most recent development, however. Sources say he has withdrawn even further into seclusion after that event, refusing to leave his cell for days at a time. This is when things start to become intriguing. According to several insiders, the one possible explanation for his reluctance to leave the house is dread. Let's be honest, there aren't many devoted employees or ardent supporters at the NDC. As the walls of these lawsuits and criminal allegations close in, some, however, believe it's a power play and try to control his surroundings. Naturally, there is also the increasing speculation that this might be merely another legal delay strategy. Let's face it, being confined to a cell does not exactly demonstrate collaboration. However, despite all of this, insider sources indicate Diddy's been using yoga and meditation as a way to center himself and deal with the less than ideal circumstances. Sure, yoga and meditation, but can you see Diddy sitting cross-legged on the floor, attempting to achieve inner peace while lawsuits mount more quickly than snow in New York in December? Conversely, there are rumors that he continues to portray himself as strong while balancing his weakness and confidence. According to one report, he is even holding his head high as if he were invincible. But is this the same guy who was said to have cried in his cell during the holidays, as we learned a few weeks ago? What is the reality then?
Reality, see what they don't tell you is he losing a lot of weight. He got a lot of gray hairs. They say he's sick. They say he looks sick. And they saying that inside the jail detention center, officers saying that Diddy got STD. Someone is going saying that he got HIV.
Is Diddy quietly losing it, or is he waiting to respond to a barrage of accusations against him? There's no denying that this story is far from done, and that the delicious details are only beginning to emerge. If you thought the reports about prison cells and lawsuits were crazy, wait till you won an earn. Listen to Jaguar at 00455, as Wright has been saying. Wright, well known for her candid interviews and unrelenting criticism of the negative aspects of the music business, has revealed yet another shocking revelation. This time it was Diddy, her bitterest adversary. Jaguar didn't hold back during an incredible interview with Real Life Productions. She blatantly said that Diddy had been living with HIV. Yeah, you heard correctly. Wright said Diddy had encountered the 1 minute, 5 and 19 sickness head-on, refusing to let it to hinder or halt his quick ascent in the entertainment industry. She went so far as to raise the issue, how many guys are out there running around undetected?
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that, though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop doing what he's done. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? Gee.
Come on.
In the game.
Come on, there's more.
It said Diddy Combs faced serious allegations. It says Jaguar Wright revealed shocking claims about his health and industry influence. See, disgraced the hip-hop artist Diddy Combs had been facing allegations left, right, center, even before he was arrested in September 24. His ongoing case, new development, and claims he has surfaced in a recent interview. Singer Jaguar Wright dropped a bombshell about Diddy Combs' health status and his friendship with Jay-Z. She claimed that Combs was diagnosed with HIV. He knew about his condition, and chose not to disclose the same. P. Diddy had the opportunities like everybody else. You know what wow about that, though? He faced that heated up. He didn't stop. He didn't stop doing what he did. And how many dudes are running around undetectable? Wright stated in her interview, without naming any, she claimed to know at least 20 men who living with HIV. The singer added she will talk about their identities on her own upcoming show, which is her podcast. Now let's roll this, man.
I could get $1 for every person that's called me a liar in the past 5 years. I would be financing. I buy my satellite next week.
All right. Here is the most recent tea, just when we thought Diddy's situation could get much messier, especially after the whole breakdown story. He is reluctant to go out of his detention cell. You read correctly. The music entrepreneur who is now incarcerated is allegedly putting a stop to legal processes by simply refusing to go out and take the barrage of lawsuits that are awaiting him. Antigone Curis, a co-counsel for lawyer Tony Busby, claims 2 significant cases have been impacted by Diddy's little jailhouse protest. Due to the severity of this rejection, Curious had to submit a letter pleading with the court to postpone crucial sessions. Originally scheduled on January 10th, it was moved to February. What's that? Thus, they are unable to provide the individual his documents. Now, recall these civil cases are not the only aspect of this. Additionally, Diddy faces a criminal trial in May 2025 on some extremely severe allegations that might result in a minimum sentence of 15 to 20 years in prison. Since there are other cases pending and a federal court date has already been set, you have to ask yourself whether this is all part of a larger scheme or is he finally beginning to break under the strain? We're just beginning to sort out this complicated issue, so stay put. Now,
So it says, Sean Diddy is reportedly stalling legal proceeding by refusing to leave his jail cell to accept service of multiple lawsuits. The Bad Boy record founder is currently in custody, awaiting trial on sexual traffic charges. Diddy faced criminal charges including racketeering and transportation to engage in prostitution. His trial is scheduled to begin in May 2025. It says, according to filing submitted on December 30, attorney Tony Busby, co-counsel, claimed that Diddy refused to accept service and had caused delays in two specified cases. So we see Justin Bieber shared message about Diddy's legal trouble. How can I believe Jesus is? It says the attorney have called on the judge to counsel the conference beginning in May 10th, it says, and move them to February due to the delays. It says that on both sets of lawyers have agreed on the way forward. It says one of many lawsuits against Diddy, it says, who worked as the music assistants as later sue him. So we have Philip Pines, who worked as the music assistant, later sued him for sexual battery and harassment and trafficking in office from May 2019 to September 2021. It says the attorney have called on the judge to counsel conference between January 10th and move them to February due to delay. It says that on both sets, the lawyers have agreed on the way to forward.
Now, let's discuss the litigation Diddy has been evading. And believe me, the specifics are both outrageous and unsettling. We start with Philip Pines, a former assistant who has made some grave claims against Diddy. Pines is suing because of misbehavior and what he claims is a poisonous workplace. That has gotten out of hand between 2019 and 2021. And the tea doesn't end there, folks. Pines claimed in court filings that part of his work was getting ready for what Diddy reportedly referred to as Wild King Nights. That's a
Wild King Nights. See, this man held the keys, man. He's showing you the bottles. He's showing, man, look, man, you know what I mean? I got the new Alizé, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I got the, you know what I mean? The new drink, man. Have a drink. Relax yourself.
novel one. To put this into perspective, picture hotel rooms filled with baby oil, specific enhancement goods, and even gadgets you wouldn't anticipate seeing at a party. Pines claims that these evenings lasted for days, and you know who was responsible for cleaning up after them? This individual claims to have seen everything, including trashed party supplies and personal belongings. However, things become much more gloomy from here. Pines claims that Diddy forced him into he saw an intimate moment with a lady at 00220. If that wasn't shocking enough, Diddy is also accused of hanging a lady over a 17-story balcony. You read correctly, a balcony. Naturally, Diddy's defense team is launching a barrage of denials. They have deemed these accusations to be unfounded, stating that Mr. Combs has...
It says Diddy and his legal team had denied allegations, stating no matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs have never sexually assaulted or sex trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minors. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason. Unfortunately, a fair and impartial judicial process exists to find the truth. And Mr. Combs is confident he will prevail in court.
Never committed any non-consensual conduct, regardless of the number of cases that are brought against him. They are steadfast in their demand that he clear his reputation in court. But let's face it, is it possible for one individual to avoid this many lawsuits without certain secrets coming to light? How do you guys feel? Is a larger unraveling about to begin? Now that we've revealed the lawsuits, let's take a peek inside the Metropolitan Detention Center to see what Diddy's life behind bars is really like. Warning, it's far different from his opulent penthouses and one private planes, but you were probably aware of it beforehand. We couldn't stop talking about that Christmas disaster, do you recall? We all wondered if Diddy's exaggerated character was finally crumbling under the strain after hearing reports of him losing it over the holiday season. Here's the most recent development, however. Sources say he has withdrawn even further into seclusion after that event, refusing to leave his cell for days at a time. This is when things start to become intriguing. According to several insiders, the one possible explanation for his reluctance to leave the house is dread. Let's be honest, there aren't many devoted employees or ardent supporters at the NDC. As the walls of these lawsuits and criminal allegations close in, some, however, believe it's a power play and try to control his surroundings. Naturally, there is also the increasing speculation that this might be merely another legal delay strategy. Let's face it, being confined to a cell does not exactly demonstrate collaboration. However, despite all of this, insider sources indicate Diddy's been using yoga and meditation as a way to center himself and deal with the less than ideal circumstances. Sure, yoga and meditation, But can you see Diddy sitting cross-legged on the floor, attempting to achieve inner peace while lawsuits mount more quickly than snow in New York in December? Conversely, there are rumors that he continues to portray himself as strong while balancing his weakness and confidence. According to one report, he is even holding his head high as if he were invincible. But is this the same guy who was said to have cried in his cell during the holidays, as we learned a few weeks ago? What is the reality then? Is Diddy quietly losing it, or is he waiting to respond to a barrage of accusations against him? There's no denying that this story is far from done, and that the delicious details are only beginning to emerge. If you thought the reports about prison cells and lawsuits were crazy, wait till you won an earn. Listen to Jaguar at 00455, as Wright has been saying. Wright, well known for her candid interviews and unrelenting criticism of the negative aspects of the music business, has revealed yet another shocking revelation. This time it was Diddy, her bitterest adversary. Jaguar didn't hold back during an incredible interview with Real Life Productions. She blatantly said that Diddy had been living with HIV. Yeah, you heard correctly. Wright said Diddy had encountered the 1 minute, 5 and 19 sickness head-on, refusing to let it to hinder or halt his quick ascent in the entertainment industry. She went so far as to raise the issue, how many guys are out there running around undetected?
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that, though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop doing what he's done. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? Gee.
Come on.
In the game.
Come on, there's more. In addition to the health accusation, Wright intensified her portrayal of Diddy as a perilous and terrible character in the business. Someone who has reportedly been made possible by some of the biggest names in music. Wright said that she can name at least 20 people who she claims have HIV and are no better than Diddy. She said that this problem went beyond Diddy's sentence. Regarding Jay-Z's lawyer's assertions that Diddy and Jay-Z were never buddies, Jaguar also has some intriguing things to say. Just associates on business. You'd chuckle at what she said about it, I promise.
Now guess what?
And this is why it was stated that Candace Owens, gangster rap was never a black culture. It was created by the feds who preferred deals to homosexual. See, black man's in prison and then turned them into artificial homosexuals. The goal was to create false idols to destroy black American values. Candace says the Diddy case was well, I will say a lot of them. I would say maybe every celebrity that ever been featured at Diddy's parties who had been suspiciously quite might have a vested interest in figuring out whether or not these influencers are being paid, which they are not. None of us are, of course, being paid to cover the stories. This whole thing had been a cover-up. Wildfires to destroy everything, but like I said, when we look at this, fam, a lot of gatekeepers, and like I said, she gonna say to you guys that you got people that's living with AIDS and then not telling no one. See, Diddy lived with AIDS. And just think how many people he spread it to. She's going to tell you she got 20 people that she can list.
Smith don't know Diddy either.
Will Smith don't know Diddy either.
It's a whole virus, G. I don't know Diddy.
What do you think that's about?
I don't even like baby oil. I don't know Diddy.
That was obviously to Jaguar's delight. How come she wouldn't? Thus far, her prophecies about these powerful weapons have mostly come true. Do you too think that Diddy and Jay-Z aren't close? Several images and videos indicate that they are, but only if they was removed from the internet. Naturally,
leave middle school fragrances in the past and elevate to luxury scents.
These laundry pods are my new confidence booster.
It's not some synthetic laundry detergent that smells clean. I mean, this is sophisticated, it's bold. Honestly, it's just my signature scent.
Do not sleep on this.
No dyes, no parabens, no phthalates. My sheets, towels, everything I wash transform into a luxury fabric.
These are my signature scents now, and I get more compliments.
I could get $1 for every person that's called me a liar in the past 5 years. Would be financing. I buy my satellite next week.
All right, y'all. Just when we thought the drama with Diddy couldn't get any messier, especially after the whole meltdown saga, here's the latest tea. He's refusing to leave his jail cell. Yes, you heard that right. The music mogul turned inmate is reportedly stalling legal proceedings by straight up refusing to step out.
Could have that opportunity just like everybody else.
I mean, he actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable, G?
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names.
Word on the street is Diddy's health is in serious danger behind bars, and it is not looking good for him right now. According to recent reports, Diddy has lost severe weight, and it's not just because of the food in the prison or him refusing to eat, but for the fact that he is suffering from an acute STD behind bars. So, as you probably know, Diddy's been sitting in prison for a few months now, waiting for his trial that's supposed to go down in May 2025. But here's where it starts to get messy. Now, we all know about what Diddy was up to, but it wasn't just women in the SA. They're claiming he was out here forcing himself on men and hiring male escorts for himself, living that down-low lifestyle. And the rumors don't stop there. Word is, even behind bars, Diddy's allegedly been keeping up the same energy, if not worse, and getting D down. Reports are saying Diddy's got himself a crew of male groupies in prison. Yeah, these dudes are apparently riding for him so hard they're even making his bed for him. Like, what? And to make things worse, these same groupies might not just be folding sheets.
Diddy allegedly has jail groupies who hate on each other for making his bed. Yo, that's why context matters. The reason why context matters,
That's him. The baby oil villain himself, Diddy. Heard they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his crib.
And tapes, man. Gives him his freak offs. Oh, they say he oils you up and then takes your soul.
So we have in a recent interview that Jaguar Wright made an allegation that Diddy Combs reportedly had HIV and had approached his situation head up. It says, in a YouTube video upload on December 25th, Wright stated, P. Diddy had the opportunity like everybody else. You know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up. He didn't stop. He didn't stop doing what he done. How many dudes is running around undetectable? Wright further claims she could identify at least 20 other men she believed to be no better than Combs, and he also had HIV. She added that the issue extended beyond the rabbit hole of Diddy's sins. However, she declined to reveal names, explaining that it was not due to fear of lawsuits, but because she planned to disclose them. So it says, in a recent interview, Wright dismisses claim that Jay-Z legal team that Raptor Combs was not friends outside their personal interaction.
Yo, man, don't tell me you all scared of some celebrity with some baby oil.
Now here's the wild part. Allegedly, Diddy's been getting down with these dudes in ways we can't even say out loud. And y'all know how it goes in jail. Getting access to protection isn't exactly easy. That alone is already risky. But some folks are saying it might not even be consensual.
Yo, I just heard that Diddy, a former inmate said that Diddy got groupies in the jail.
And there have been recent reports that Diddy allegedly caught HIV while in jail. And to make things worse, Jaguar Wright has come forward to back up these claims in her signature no-holds-barred style. In a recent interview with Real Life Productions, Jaguar Wright dropped some serious tea about Sean Diddy Combs. She claimed that Diddy has reportedly been dealing with HIV and that he's faced his diagnosis head up. But that's not all. Wright went even deeper, claiming she could name at least 20 other men she believes are in the same boat as Diddy. She hinted that this issue goes beyond just Diddy's actions, calling it a much larger problem. However, she refused to name names, saying she plans to spill it all on her upcoming show.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that, though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
An advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? Gee.
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and wouldn't nobody be able to sue me.
Wait, please name them, because we need to know.
Things that I'll be discussing on the Jaguar Wright show from here on out.
This isn't the first time Jaguar Wright has gone after Diddy. Following his arrest on September 16, 2024, on charges of ST by force, fraud, or coercion, conspiracy, and transportation for Wright doubled down in an October interview with Piers Morgan. She called him one of the most dangerous.
One of the most dangerous people he encountered and labeled him as the devil. Diddy's one of the most dangerous people. See, when you held the keys so long in Hollywood, you could be dangerous. This is why how many people was invited to the White Party, to all Right Party. You have to be invited to these parties, man. You can't just go to these parties if you're not invited, man. But he's one of the most dangerous people she had encountered and labeled him as this devil. So after his arrest, Jaguar Wright, a longtime critic of Combs, appeared as the British journalist Piers Morgan talk show on October 3rd. She refers to Combs as one of the most dangerous people she encountered and labeled him as the devil.
People she's ever encountered and straight up labeled him the devil. Jaguar claimed that Diddy's career and actions were designed by powerful industry figures to serve as a demon that kept the culture under control for the benefit of the music industry. She added that she's been warning people about Diddy and Jay-Z for years, describing them as monsters whose actions have been ignored until now. Recent reports are claiming that Diddy is flat out refusing to leave his cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, and his refusal is causing all kinds of delays in the multiple SA lawsuits he's currently facing. Here's the deal. Co-counsel for attorney Tony Busby made the claim in a letter requesting to postpone a conference set for January 10th, 2025.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Getting started is easy, and the process has already helped over 500,000 people and counting.
I called immediately. Congratulations, you qualify to be a part of the National Debt Relief Program. I cried. I'm debt free. Wow, I can't thank National Debt Relief enough.
Find out if you're eligible today. Click the link on this video and answer a few short questions. Be sure to apply before next Friday. Go ahead and click that link. You'll be glad you did.
According to the letter, we have been in negotiations with defendants' counsel regarding service of process, scheduling, and case management across numerous related actions, and have faced delays caused by defendant Combs refusing to leave his cell to accept service. Now, let's talk about why Diddy might be pulling this move.
Some people are saying it could be because of the toll that his alleged diagnosis has taken on him. Think about it. If the rumors about HIV are true, he might not want to be seen in public while dealing with the physical effects of the disease.
According to a new report, Sean Diddy Combs is refusing to leave his jail cell and apparently, allegedly, had a meltdown during the Christmas holiday.
But that's not all. There have been reports claiming that Diddy's paranoia is getting worse behind bars. Word is, he's even refusing to eat because he's terrified of being poisoned. And honestly, when you think about all the rumors floating around about Diddy allegedly being behind the scenes and unaliving people, you can see why he might be scared. According to some sources, he allegedly used poison that caused pneumonia-like symptoms. So now that he's locked up, it seems like he's convinced someone might try to do the same to him.
Diddy is apparently refusing meals. I don't know if it's all of them, but he's refusing some of them, and he's been reportedly looking a lot thinner. Why would that be?
Sean Diddy Combs is reportedly not eating in jail, possibly due to a fear of being poisoned. Former inmate Larry Levine speculated that Diddy is afraid someone will harm him through his food.
And to make things even crazier, there was a time when Diddy reportedly demanded his own personal nutritionist in jail. Yup, apparently he thought he could still pull the same strings he did on the outside. Word is, he wanted to get back in shape after the toll prison life had taken on him. But of course, the prison system isn't exactly catering to his superstar lifestyle, so his demands didn't go far.
He needs to get clean and all this other stuff. He was trying to angle to get his own nutritionist to come in and help prepare his meals in order to help him with the physical effects that he's going to.
And let's be real, refusing to leave his cell might also be a way to avoid facing even more lawsuits. Could this be a tactic to keep the spotlight off what's really going on with him, or is it just his way of trying to stall the legal process? Either way, the situation is raising a lot of questions. As usual, the internet had their own opinions. One user commented, "How can Diddy remain clean when he was running through so many people? It would not surprise me at all." Another user chimed in with, "Jag is more on point and knows what she's talking about. Believe what you will, but Jag knows." So, what's your take on all this? Do you think Diddy's behavior in jail is tied to his alleged health issues, or is it just him trying to avoid more lawsuits? Could Jaguar Wright's claims be exposing the truth, or is this just another wild rumor? And most importantly, do you think Diddy can bounce back from all this drama, or is it game over for him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more developing stories straight from the hood. Man, big shout out to the hood, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to him, man. Shout out to all my YouTubers, man. We pushing this, man. Won't stop, can't stop, man. Let's go on, man. Shout out to all my YouTubers, man.
I could get $1.
According to Antigone Curis, co-counsel for attorney Tony Busby, Diddy is outright refusing to leave his jail cell, stalling legal proceedings as a stack of lawsuits piles up against him. According to Antigone Curis, co-counsel for attorney Tony Busby, Diddy's jailhouse...
Now, Diddy refused to leave his jail cell, man. Now, why did he refuse to leave his jail cell? Is he looking, they said he looking worse, he got thinner, and you know what I mean, he could be looking worse. So, fam, if he got that shit that everybody's saying, that HIV and AIDS, man, it's just not nothing to be played with. He widespreaded it to a lot of people that's living with it. You know, and I won't think Jaguar Wright will just be lying on her statement. Now let's go hear what Tony Busby have to say here, man. I just don't think that she would lie on her statement. Matter of fact, it says Wright further claims she could identify at least 20 others, man, she believed to be no better than Combs also live with HIV. She added the issue extending beyond the rabbit hole of Diddy's sins. However, she declined to reveal names, explained that it was not due to fear of lawsuit, but because she planned to disclose them her upcoming show.
Protest has disrupted not one but two major cases. It's gotten so bad that Curis had to file a letter asking the court to postpone critical conferences from January 10 to February, all because they can't serve him with legal papers. This drama isn't limited to civil lawsuits either. Diddy is also staring down a criminal trial set for May 2025. If convicted, he could be facing 15 to 20 years in prison. With lawsuits mounting and a federal court date looming, the question is this part of a grand strategy, or is the pressure finally breaking him? Let's dive into the lawsuits he's allegedly dodging. One of the most explosive cases involves Philip Pines, a former assistant who has accused Diddy of creating a toxic work environment between 2019 and 2021. According to court documents, Pines' duties included prepping for what Diddy called Wild King Nights. These so-called nights allegedly involved hotel rooms stocked with baby oil, enhancement products, and unconventional party devices. Pines claims these parties lasted for days, leaving him to clean up everything from discarded supplies to personal remnants. The accusations don't stop there. Pines alleges that Diddy once coerced him into an intimate situation with a woman while he watched. Another claim is even more alarming. Diddy allegedly dangled a woman over a 17th floor balcony. Naturally, Diddy's legal team has vehemently denied these allegations, calling them baseless. They maintain that no matter how many lawsuits are filed, Mr. Combs has never engaged in any non-consensual acts. Inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, Diddy's life is a far cry from the luxury he once enjoyed. Reports of a holiday meltdown suggested cracks in his larger-than-life persona. Since then, sources claim Diddy has become even more reclusive, refusing to leave his cell for days at a time. Insiders are split on the reasons for his isolation. Some speculate it's rooted in fear. After all, the MDC isn't filled with adoring fans. Others think it's a power move, a way to control his environment as the legal walls close in. Adding an unexpected twist, reports suggest Diddy has been practicing meditation and yoga to cope with his circumstances. Yes, you read that right. Diddy, cross-legged on the floor, finding inner peace while lawsuits snowball. On the other hand, whispers from inside claim he's putting on a brave face, walking a fine line between vulnerability and bravado. And if all that wasn't enough, Jaguar Wright has entered the chat. Known for exposing the music industry's dark underbelly, Wright recently dropped a bombshell about Diddy in an interview with Real Life Productions. She claimed Diddy has been living with HIV, alleging that he's faced the disease head-on without letting it derail his rise to stardom. Wright even posed the provocative question, how many men...
So it says, Sean Diddy Combs is being sued by former employee Philip Pines, who is participating in this Wild King Night with the disgraced music. The lawsuit obtained by Variety on Monday, December 23, details that the Wild King Night as evening was Diddy 55, who engaged in a night of sex, drugs, and alcohol with various guests. It says Pine have filed the claim that on one occasion Diddy pressured Pine into having sex with a female guest. It said the former employee that he served as Diddy personally lackey claimed he will be asked to obtain red lights, ice, alcohol, marijuana joints, honey packs, baby oil, etc., towels, and legal drugs, and power bangers of sex machines before the Wild King Night. Diddy team addressed the filing of this statement to the U.S. Weekly on Tuesday, December 24th. No matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the facts that Mr. Combs have sexually assaulted or sexual attract anyone, man or woman, adult, minor. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason. Unfortunately, a fair, impartial, it says. So it says, Ms. Combs is confidently he will prevail in this court legal issue. So the complaint further claim that Pine will deep clean hotel rooms after the Wild King night, which could be previously planned to occur on a moment notice, came to an end. Pine worked for Diddy from December 2019 through December 2021.
Are running around undetectable. With lawsuits, criminal charges, and explosive allegations swirling, one thing is clear. This saga is far from over. Is Diddy cracking under pressure, or is this all part of a calculated game plan? Either way, the drama continues to unfold, and we'll be here to spill every last drop of tea.
Did you know that Amazon has a $50 million fund that they have to pay out every month? And here's how you can get a cut of it. My name is Charlotte Nicholson, and we help everyday people grow their income with this one simple method. And we're pretty darn good at it. Our company, Publishing.com, was...
Stay tuned for more.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that, though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop. And he didn't stop doing what he's done. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? Chief.
Come on.
In the game.
Before you all fully comprehend that, there is more to Wright's story. She went beyond the health accusation and intensified her efforts to, according to the narrative, Diddy is a dangerous and evil figure in the music industry who has allegedly been aided by some of the biggest names in the business. She claims to be able to name at least 20 people who she believes are no better than Diddy and who also allegedly have HIV. Diddy's transgressions go beyond the rabbit hole. Additionally, Jaguar has something intriguing to say regarding Jay-Z's attorney's assertion that Diddy and Jay-Z were only business associates and never friends. I promise you will find her remarks amusing.
Now guess what? Will Smith don't know Diddy either.
Will Smith don't know Diddy either.
It's a whole like virus, G. It's I don't know Diddy.
What are you gonna...
It's a whole live virus. And see, that virus, he's spreading out. You know what I mean? Like cancer, man. This thing you with Diddy, you got that shit. You got that shit. She's not making this up, man. She knows 20 artists that got that shit. He got that shit. He got that shit.
That's about
even like baby oil. I don't know Diddy.
Jaguar Wright was clearly relishing the moment, and who could blame her? She's been right on the money with many of her predictions about industry heavyweights. But do you really buy the wild claims that Diddy and Jay-Z aren't close? Plenty of old photos and videos say otherwise, unless they've conveniently disappeared from the internet. Unsurprisingly, Jaguar's latest comments have ignited a firestorm on social media. Some see her as a fearless whistleblower exposing the dark side of fame and power. Others are more skeptical, pointing to her history of making bold, sometimes unverified claims. Honestly, both perspectives have merit. Whatever the case, her allegations only add another layer of intrigue to Diddy's chaotic situation. Whether you believe Jaguar or not, one thing's for sure. She knows how to keep people talking. Her recent claims have only amplified the buzz surrounding Diddy's unraveling legacy. The HIV rumor alone is a bombshell that sticks in people's minds, whether proven or not. Let's not sugarcoat it. Diddy's reputation was already hanging by a thread. Between lawsuits, accusations from former associates, and troubling jailhouse rumors, his public image has taken a massive hit. And this latest claim? It's the kind of headline that lingers regardless of the truth. The court of public opinion doesn't wait for due process. Rumors like these don't just fade, they fester and reshape how people see you. Even Diddy's most loyal fans are struggling to defend him against the avalanche of allegations. Here's a wild theory. Could all these accusations be part of a calculated effort to discredit Diddy? Or are we finally seeing the cracks in a carefully constructed facade? The timing, lawsuits, viral interviews, and jailhouse drama all at once has raised eyebrows. Is this the result of a vendetta, or are we witnessing the unraveling of his true legacy? One thing is clear, these aren't just attacks on Diddy's present, they're reshaping his entire history. Once a hip-hop icon, Diddy's name is now tied to scandal and controversy, his legacy being rewritten in real time. Diddy's refusal to leave his cell might buy him time, but at what cost? Delaying lawsuits doesn't make them disappear. It only ramps up the pressure. Courts don't take kindly to stalling, and his actions...
Let me say this to you, fam. Anytime you have to fight to go to trial, and it's a jury selection, and you know what I mean, and I'm quite sure his team wanted, you know what I mean, was like, you may have to testify yourself, you may have to go up there, because at some point, when you got a high-profile case like Diddy, you know, most likely he gotta take the stand, take the witness stand, you know, because there's so, you know what I mean, you get good attorneys, right? And they only can clean up so much. They can't, you know what I mean? If there's a lot of paint, well, they can probably get rid of some of that paint. And next thing you know, they can't get rid of all the paint. You know, because there's more accusations. There's more, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? People coming forward, and prosecution and subpoenaing witnesses. So in other words, man, when we look at this, man, it's not going to look good at the end. You know, just think about how many attendants was at these parties and saw and didn't say nothing.
Could backfire, making things even tougher for his legal team. Let's not forget the bigger picture. His criminal trial is set for May 2025. If he continues this behavior, prosecutors might argue that his refusal to cooperate signals guilt or a lack of accountability. Managing multiple civil cases alongside a criminal trial is no easy feat, and his legal team is under immense pressure to juggle it all while trying to salvage his reputation. Could this all be part of a larger strategy? Is Diddy banking on delays to wear down his accusers and weaken their resolve? Or is this the move of a man who feels cornered, running out of options? Either way, it's a risky gamble with everything on the line. The stakes have never been higher, and time is running out. If Diddy thinks he can wait out the storm, he might need a reminder that his trial is still months away, and there's a good chance more lawsuits will land at his doorstep before then. So what's your take? Is Diddy's refusal to leave his cell a bold legal strategy or the sign of a man crumbling under pressure? And what do you think of Jaguar Wright's shocking claims?
Hey guys, my name is Harris Heller, and I've been a full-time YouTuber for over 10 years now. And if you are a YouTuber or you're trying to be a
Breaking news tonight. Diddy, what? Is Sean Combs actually saying the freak-off tapes prove his innocence? Is it true? Allegations now surfacing that he, Sean Combs, actually used a TV remote in a sex attack on a victim. This as Sean Combs, aka Diddy, is calling prosecutors sexist. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
A bombshell Peacock documentary reveals shocking claims from Diddy's inside circle. Childhood friends tell all.
Amid claims by Sean Combs that the freak-off tape surreptitiously taking, showing him directing for days full-on orgies where the victims say they woke up afterwards in pain, he's actually saying that the sex tapes, now in the hands of the state, will prove he's innocent. Okay. At the same time, a bombshell documentary dropping on Peacock. Listen.
When I got home from the military, and Sean and I hadn't seen each other in a while, and I'm like, "What's up, Sean?" He's like, "Yeah, he called me Puff now. He called me Puff." I was being looked at as a punk. I was being looked at as a pushover. I was being looked at as a sissy, as a wimp, as a goofy. I ain't even trying to know that person again. And I'm a Puff Daddy now.
Okay, is that the origin of Sean Combs turning into Puff Daddy? I ain't even trying to know that person again. I was a sissy, a wimp, goofy. No more. That's where our friends at Peacock, Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, their new documentary that just dropped. The state is salivating. They've got out their forks and their steak knives to cut into this documentary, hoping for new witnesses to emerge. Straight out to Rob Shooter joining us.
I'm going to say it like this. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of people like rooting, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people making videos and rooting for a conviction. And, to me, for everything that he allegedly did and been accused of, deserved, time that he deserved. And if there's a lot of attendance at these parties, man, which they were, they seen the drugs put in the drinks and handed, and seen people knocked out in the parties, and them people is guilty. And if Diddy rolled the dice and he just all of a sudden one day just like start dropping names and remember the Tony Buzzy said there was names that it will shock you, it will blow your mind. So we know there's going to be names, big names to come, and it's going to get to a point, man, people are going to tell their story. People are going to, people are going to reveal the truth that went on, If you really look at it, Justin Bieber, he even say some things, and Usher's coming out, So let's roll the clip. Let's see. She's saying.
Host Naughty But Nice podcast, former publicist for Sean Combs and author of The 4-Word Answer, Rob Shooter. After seeing the Peacock documentary, it makes me wonder, is that where Sean Combs adopted his tough guy attitude from being a sissy in his mind to bullying and allegedly victims later in life?
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I watched the documentary. This was the origin. Puffy was not Puffy once. He was Sean Combs, and he carefully created this image for himself. He hired people like me to create this image, to present himself as a king, present himself as a man in power. But actually, his beginnings were a lot more humble. We are finding that out from the documentary. But he was not born Puffy. He was born Sean.
Okay, let me ask you something. You just said, Rob Shooter, as a personal publicist, PR guru to Sean Combs, that you were to create a certain image for Sean Combs.
and that is as a tough guy. How do you do that?
Yeah, you surround him by people that make him look tough. You surround him at photo shoots where he literally sits on a throne. I remember once when I got Puffy into People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive issue, he controlled that photo shoot. He told me how he wanted to be shot, what he was going to wear. He wanted to be sitting on a throne. He literally in some shoots wore a crown. So all this is very, very carefully curated. None of this just happened, and he was the power behind it all.
You see that? He was the power behind it all, man. This boy, he held the key, man. He held the key all in Queens and Brooklyn. He held the keys in Hollywood. He threw the wildest, freakiest parties, man. You couldn't get invited unless you know this man. Unless you know this man on the screen, you couldn't get invited to a Diddy's party. That's why they all say, ain't nothing like a Diddy's party. Ain't nothing like a Diddy's party. That's what they all say now. What they all say, man. They all wasn't part of it. See, when you get high up, man, and you want to get high up, man. This is what you got to do, man. You know what I mean? You got to be part of this gatekeeper. You know what I mean? You part of the gatekeeper. Yeah, they'll put you up. This is exactly what they do. They'll put you up. You know what I mean? Diddy had the keys to all of it. He had the keys to all the wild freak-offs, man. He owns the freak-offs.
Okay, Rob Shooter, see, you throw bombs at me, and when the grenade goes off, you expect me not to respond. Shooter, how did he want to be dressed to look like a tough guy in People magazine? I can't wait to hear this.
There are fur coats involved, there's diamond rings involved, there's guns involved, there's the way that he talks, which I have to say too, he speaks to the press in a very different manner than when you're alone with Puffy. I've flown on private planes with him, I've been in cars with him, I've been in his home with him. He's quite a soft-spoken gentleman when he's not putting on the Puffy show. And so for me, this is no supreme myth, it's an illusion. It's something that was made up.
Yeah, well, you know what? You call it a myth. That's not what federal prosecutors call it. They call it dozens of sex trafficking felonies. So I don't know where you're going, Shooter, but having watched the Peacock's Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy that just dropped, I know the state is poring over it for potential evidence. Listen.
I did part that Disney turned into a freak off. One of the first times I really started getting close with this guy, he gave me some bad boy gear and he told me that it was glad he got out. I mean, he's dead. When you're in that situation, you kind of feel forced and iron.
Fargo is your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo.
Oh, come on.
Fargo lets you do this.
Fargo, turn on. That from our friends at Peacock, Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, and you can hear how the guest in that documentary is insisting that his voice be altered because he is afraid of Sean Combs, even though Sean Combs is currently behind bars. What more revelations are revealed in Peacock's new documentary as Sean Combs heads to trial?
Look, man, I want to say it like this, y'all. More revelation is to be revealed. The whole Hollywood shook. And they know at some point, even Tony Buzz even said at some point, if those was people that was tenant and knew about these freak offs and things like that, right? You came to these freak offs not this one time, not this two times, not this three times, but you came to these freak offs, you know, and you seen, and you was, you know what I mean, like I said, you was the tenants, and you seen what was going on. You seen the drugs and the drink. You seen people allegedly being drugged. You seen people being raped. You seen people being molested. You seen kids at, you know what I mean, at these after parties and things at these parties, and you seen, and you just like he says, you just is guilty. So yes, do I believe there's more people involved in this? Yes, I do believe. I believe there's more people, you know what I mean, is involved, and how harsh it sounds. I think more people this is guilty. This is Diddy. You know, they all played in part watching and not saying that.
And demands that the freak off tapes that he directed be released to the public. He claims they prove him innocent, that all of these women went along with it consensually and enjoyed it. Yeah, their words, not mine. Enjoyed it. Okay, I don't know. Wendy Patrick, a profile prosecutor out of California, founder of Black Swan Verdicts, author of Why Bad Looks Good. It goes on and on. I'm not sure how women that were drugged and have no recollection of these so-called freak-off parties consented to that when they wake up the next morning with their hurting and bleeding. But that's what the defense is claiming, that all of this was consensual. How can that be? Many of these women are suing him for sex attack.
It can't be, is the short answer, but the way that will be developed will be in a court of law. In the court of public opinion, the defense is saying anything and everything to corroborate their case that there's consenting adults.
Look, man, the sad thing is what he done to Cassidy. What this man done to Cassidy wouldn't be, he knows right now, deep down inside, he knows, damn, what put me in here. Because if he could settle with Cassidy, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. You know, and since Diddy flashed out, you know what I mean, and he was on, you know what I mean, he was on drugs then, and for this flash out, you know, pull Cassidy like a, you know what I mean, like a dog. This, you know what I mean, you know, if you seen what he did, you would be like, wow. You know, she opened up a Pandora box, you know, and Diddy, you know, Diddy's in a world trouble. He know he are, and he put himself in a bad situation. He know that he's going to sometime in life he's going to be like, damn, all the money, it causes problems. The more money, the more problems. The more problems you have. Money, you realize at some point, money ain't gonna buy you up out the situation you in. But when you're in a deep situation, you got deep, you know what I mean, things that you gotta, you know what I mean, get rid of. And you got these high attorneys, right? And like I say, attorneys, they liable only do certain things. They can't, you know what I mean, if there's a small paint, they can take that paint and remove some paint. But if there's big paint spilled, yeah, they can do whatever they can to try to get rid of these allegations, these witnesses. You know what I mean? You know, but like I said, man, they can represent him in a way, but still, when you got new, you know what I mean, lawsuits and allegations, you got, it's gonna get to a point that the whole Pandora box is gonna be open. Everybody gonna get involved. Everybody gonna try to, you know, because a lot of people don't want to, you know what I mean, they don't want to lose what they have. And you know, rumors, you know what I mean, is saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce relationship, she, you know what I mean, is going to be first the most you know what I mean, heartbreaking. Just think about, y'all. Just think about where they got over, you know what I mean, 300 people. They already witnessed. They said they already witnessed about 50 people. They already witnessed and came in contact with and talked. Man, this is not looking look, this is not looking for, you know what I mean? This is not looking a win for Diddy and his part, man. Because I want to say, man, you're going to have to take the stand. You're going to have to take a stand and testify.
Adults. Nobody was underage. The women were enjoying it. But remember, that is all subject to the kind of cross-examination that would really just destroy a story like this. We're hearing a little bit of it already through the civil cases that have been filed. We'll hear a lot more of it as the criminal case begins to develop. And whatever the court public opinion has to say.
Wendy, second verse, same as the first. I don't believe I've ever had a case, whether I investigated it, prosecuted it, or covered it, where at some point the defendant didn't say she wanted it.
Yeah.
That's so tired. But that's what they're doing.
Well, they have to do that here because what are the alternatives? I mean, these are things that the defendant himself has talked about, has publicized, has really used to build his brand. When you look at somebody that has risen to fame through exactly these types of parties and who is feared and revered, that's part of the problem, and that's all they have.
See, do you have to tell me? Do you have to pursue your career in this morality they do? Of course. But when there's a realness, a person have a willing to get where he needs. And I said, for the love of money is the rule all evil, man. Some people that have money is very eager to do whatever they want, and after a while you know what I mean, you'll find yourself perish with harmful lusts and things. You know, for love, money is just the rule of all evil. And you see people are so destined for it, they will really do anything for it. If it's taking a life, if it's going the extra step. You know, this is why Cameron Owens says hip hop, black culture, hip hop. You know what I mean? The feds made black culture into homosexuals. You know why? You know why Ice Cube came out and stated that, yeah, you know what I mean, my music was no, you know what I mean, no culture of that. You know what I mean? I have never been supported by the feds to have them write my music. If I'm a rapper, I'm an MC. You know what I mean? So basically, Cube is like saying that he don't represent the gatekeepers. He was self-made. You know, he'll tell you how he don't stand what they represent. You know, he don't stand what they represent, man. You don't stand on all these people right here you got on the screen. And you know what I mean? I'm glad, man. I'm glad I wanted to give like a lot of love, man. Because first of all, when I make content, make videos, man, first of all, I want to share all the love to all the YouTubers, man. All the love to the people, man. You know what I mean? That's first and foremost. But yeah, man, we got to get right back onto this, man. Yeah, it's hard to go to trial. You know what I mean? Take the stand. You know what I mean? All these people was at the parties. All these people at the parties. You know what I mean? Now is this all of a sudden now you hear about Snoop and Dogg, and you hear about Nelly, you hear about, you know what I mean, that kid Soldier Boy, everyone represent, and now they represent, you know what I mean, coming out for this Trump inauguration. And you know what I mean, I don't know what y'all feel about that, man. Like a lot of people said Snoop was a sellout and things like that. And You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, man, when it comes to black culture, man, and this period, man, this with the racial injustice, man. Jay Z, if I feel Jay Z has stood for that, and you know what I mean. I just think when it comes to some point, you know what I mean, they don't talk about it's about the money, man. It's about the money with them. They don't stand on something that has been happening to our culture. That's why when Cameron Owen came out, gangster rap was never a black culture thing. It was created by the feds who preferred deals to these homosexual black men in prison and then turned them into an official celebrities. The goal was to create the black idols to destroy the black American values, to destroy our values. Because because you could never have values, you could never have opinion or what you want to do.
Right now, Nancy.
Peacock just dropping a documentary called Diddy, the Making of a Bad Boy. What will it reveal? Listen.
GoDaddy Arrow can get my business online in minutes with AI. Let's see.
With this month of working with Sean Combs to start sending them listeners to do things that were way outside. Yo, we pull up to the club around my house. They got karaoke night. Get put in the bed, boy, get and go push some girls, bring them back to the house. I don't know what the real intention is.
Now, what you're hearing is a witness, and it's also a guest in the Peacock documentary. He was having his voice distorted out of fear of Sean Combs. And what he is saying right there, Combs sent him up to a club. They pulled up on karaoke night, specifically timed for it to be karaoke night. And Combs tells him, yeah, put on the bad boy gear, bad boy studio gear, and go recruit some girls and bring them back to the house. Okay, this guy's saying, I don't know what the real intention is. I think we know what the real intention is. To Alex West joining us, entertainment reporter with The Mirror. Alex, thank you for being with us. This documentary that just dropped is not good news for Sean Combs. The state's parsing it apart with a silver knife and fork right now, looking for witnesses and evidence like this guy that Combs was sent out to karaoke night to bring back women, to drug them, and then have them in free calls.
Yeah, the documentary is quite explosive. You have anything from Kim Porter being discussed. They bring in Albie Schur, which is Quincy Brown's father, which is the son that Diddy kind of adopted. You have all these new voices coming in who weren't speaking before, so it's definitely not great news for Diddy in this this narrative that he's been running with.
So Alex West, what other revelations come out of the documentary?
Yeah, we have Kim Porter's, which is Diddy's ex, who is now deceased. Her diary is being looked at in this documentary, and she says in there that she's considering blowing the lid off of the rapper's secrets. So that's very telling. She spent a lot of time with him, obviously, and that's in that documentary, which is someone very close to Diddy talking about his secrets that he has. And now those secrets could potentially be coming out as allegations.
Again, this documentary is so explosive that some of the guests on the documentary, which I predict are going to end up being state's witnesses, want their voices altered. Listen.
So, we're recording. Explain why you want your voice altered.
I don't want to be on camera because Sean Combs, for over 3 decades, allegedly he's had people hurt. To protect my life, my friends, my family, anybody that's attached to me, I've chosen to remain anonymous.
From Peacock's Diddy, Making of a Bad Boy.
Attorney Mark Agnifilo is demanding that prosecutors hand over multiple videos of Sean Combs' infamous freak-offs, claiming the tapes prove his innocence. Prosecutors have described the tapes as elaborate and produced sex performances, but Agnafilo claims they depict private sexual activity between Combs and Cassie Ventura, who he says, quote, not only consented, but thoroughly enjoyed herself.
So I guess, Rob Shooter, Sean Combs no longer has a PR team because no PR guru in their right mind would want the freak-off tapes to go public.
Yeah, it's craziness. This strategy is absolutely ludicrous, but I think a former guest said this. He has nothing else, Nancy. He's going to spend the rest of his life in jail as more and more evidence comes forward. We know that. He might not know it or believe it yet, but this is outrageous stuff, and so he is trying to throw whatever he has, whatever he can, into the mix, and this appears to be it, this old story that people enjoyed him, that they were begging for him to abuse them. It's not going to work. It's a terrible strategy, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. The people around him now are not pushing back or are not making good choices.
Okay, I hear Rob Shooter talking about good choices. You know what? You really went down the rabbit hole on that. I'm asking you, this is a PR nightmare. Why would they want these tapes public? Or are they just BSing, knowing the tapes will never be made public?
They're doing what the king wants. Puffy is in charge. He doesn't take advice from other people. He thinks he's a genius. And arguably, he's done pretty well so far. He's got away with a lot, including making $1 million. And so this is
up. Shooter, have you lost your mind? He's sitting over at MDC, Metropolitan Detention Center. What do you mean, look at him now? I'm looking at him now. And so far, his PR strategy has backfired.
Now it has, Nancy, but this is relatively recent. Diddy has been getting away with this for decades. For decades we've heard rumours about Puffy, and now it's happening. What happened for the last 30 years? Why did nobody speak out then? And so I'm glad that it's happening now, Nancy. But let's be honest here. He certainly has got away with this for a very, very long time. I think it ends today. I think it ends.
Well, you know what, Rob Shooter? I stand corrected. You're right. He's gotten away with it for decades. Now, if I look at cases I've investigated, prosecuted, and covered, very often the cover-up lends a nefarious taint to what could be considered innocent. Take a listen to this regarding the consensual freak-off.
Philip Pines, a former personal lackey for Sean Combs, claims in a lawsuit that he was tasked with setting up 4 Wild King nights at hotels, which involved bringing red lights, ice buckets, alcohol, marijuana joints, honey packs for male libido, baby oil, Astroglide, towels, illegal drugs, and powered sex toys to Combs' room for sometimes days-long escapades. Pines says he was expected to be on call for any additional needs during the exploits, and Combs even pressured him to join. Afterwards, Pines was charged with cleaning up the mess, deleting any incriminating photos or video from Combs' devices, and leaving hotel staff large tips to avoid paying extra bills for damages.
You know, Bill Daly joining me, former FBI investigator. Bill, when I check out of a hotel, I don't bring in a professional cleaning crew to get rid of evidence. Do you? So if it's not nefarious, if there's not something wrong with it, why do you have to clean it all up and get rid of it so nobody sees it?
Yeah, well, exactly, Nancy. And also, you know, it's these type of witnesses that I believe that both were probably seen on videos from his homes and maybe surveillance video, not just even the videos of his sexual escapades, but also just who is in the...
I'm gonna stop this. They said that the raid happened through the Homeland Security, so to me, what did that tell you guys? Was it serious for the Homeland Security come? So this thing was deeper than what we thought. I know a lot of people want Diddy free and everything, but you know, but you see, he did a lot. He was involved in a lot of these sexual acts, man. And you know, Cassidy, she was involved in allegations, but she had 9 tapes saying that most of these tapes was consensual. Let's go roll this footage and see, you know what I mean, what he's being, because we know racketeering and the transportation of prostitution of women underage, that's another charge itself. Arson that nobody still ain't talking about. But he got several allegations. So let's go see what she's saying here.
Around his orbit. Plus these people now speaking out in this new special that's come out. These are all the people who are going to be providing some compelling testimony around all these aspects. So if they think that the videos themselves will tell a different story, it's going to be these witnesses. It's going to be these people who are maturely there, who were asked to do things, who did things for him, that will pull together this whole sordid story and perhaps be the compelling elements of this trial.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Bill. If I was arguing to that jury, I would ask them, do you have to bring in a hench person to clean your hotel room and pay off the staff to basically sanitize everything so no illegal activity can be proven? And I bet they all will say, no. But right now, the defense for Sean Combs, very unwisely in my mind, maybe this is just a PR stunt, and Shooter can address that, they are demanding the release and the publication of the freak-off tapes. Maybe they know it will never happen, so they can appear as if they want it to happen, claiming they show Combs' innocence. This as a bombshell documentary drops on Peacock, The Making of a Bad Boy. But listen to the defense. Listen.
The videos have reportedly been kept under wraps to protect Ventura's privacy, with Combs' legal team only allowed to view them under law enforcement supervision. Agnifilo argues that the video's existence directly refutes claims that Combs kept the recordings as collateral because they were not recovered from Combs' devices, but from Ventura herself. Agnifilo demands better access, claiming his team intends to create trial exhibits from the videos to prove there is not a hint of violence or coercion in the activities.
Really? Okay. Karen Stark joining me, renowned psychologist joining us out of Manhattan, TV radio trauma expert. Karen, if all of this was consensual, you know, the 1,000 bottles of baby oil, the videos that were then surreptitiously kept, nobody could see them, if all of that showed nothing but consensual sex activity, then why has the state brought multiple sex trafficking charges, and why are many of these women suing him for rape? And Karen, just another question. This is called a compound question under the law, which is inadmissible in court. But we're not in court, are we, Karen? How many times do you have to hear another man charged with, say, it was consensual. As a matter of fact, she wanted it. She enjoyed it.
It happens all the time. I mean, isn't that a really tired defense? And what I feel about this defense team is that they must be desperate if they're digging for something like this. I mean, there's so much proof that they were not enjoying, they were drugged. How can you say that these drugged people were enjoying it? And people are suing him for abuse. You see the tape with Ventura, where he's obviously beating her. Then they're saying that she enjoyed it? Really, she was trying to escape, but she enjoyed it? It's a sham, Nancy. I really don't understand what that's about.
Cassandra Cassie Ventura claims in addition to physical abuse occurring throughout their decade-long on and off relationship, Combs coerced her to participate in what he called freak-offs, which involved Ventura having sex with male sex workers while Combs watched and took videos of the encounter. Combs settled Ventura's lawsuit just a day after it was filed. The remaining 4 complaints are still unresolved.
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. If you're on the go, catch us on your favorite podcast app, where you can get all of our content, where we, in our own way, seek justice. As we go to air, a bombshell documentary is dropped by Peacock called Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. Will any of these guests turn witnesses? Listen.
I'm feeling strong. for quite a while, and I've captured a lot of moments.
Listen, if you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did, and that's how I got this $140,000 check.
It's been taking me ever to get back to my exact tone of not giving a.
There's so much I do know.
Look, see, before it was late for Diddy was seeking help at one point. See, at some point, you know, you have to be able to cast your anxieties on God because He cares for you. And always be alert, because the enemy, the devil, he's seeking who he can devour. And see, Diddy was, man, I think I blame Diddy for his actions. Because Diddy, you know, he was the whole puppet master of the whole industry. When you held the keys for so long, man, he made the mistake with not getting Cassidy what he wanted to give her. And he wouldn't, you know what I mean, he wouldn't have to be facing this kind of situation that we see. They got him with racketeering, they got him with transportation of prostitutes underage, and you got more of these allegations. Tony Buzzy said that the list is long. He said that the list went from last time I checked, it was 120. Now it's at 300, and you got over 50 people that already they witnessed, that already testified and witnessed. And I'm quite sure he said there's names that is gonna blow your mind. So, guys, we gotta stay tuned, because I think within the next week, 2 weeks, we're gonna see more people. So, you know, and by the way, you know what I mean, Jay-Z and Beyonce's next, man. Let's play this footage, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let's go.
I've seen this guy to be very, very violent.
You got me acting crazy.
He's just been getting away with it for way far too long.
Got to show y'all how we have fun and stay out of jail too. They make money.
Have fun and stay out of jail. Well, that didn't work out. That's where our friends at Peacock. It's Diddy, the making of a bad boy. Straight out to Alex West joining us, entertainment reporter with The Mirror. You stated that there are allegations that emerged from the documentary that Kim Porter did not die of natural causes.
Yeah, so I'll Be Sure shared his theory and his belief that Diddy was dangerous at the time. He says that Kim was actually trying to save him, meaning I'll Be Sure, and that she was warning him about Diddy's potential danger, saying that he would get killed if he didn't distance himself from the situation. So I'll Be Sure thinks that she was also in danger herself. Although I will say authorities have denied this, but that's I'll Be Sure's perspective. That's his opinion. That's his speculation.
Well, the reality is Kim Porter's dead. She can't testify to what really happened. Listen.
Al B. Sure, who remained close to Porter until her death in 2018, insists that Porter did keep a diary and states as fact that she was murdered before she could blow the lid off Diddy's secrets. Brown even claims that Combs tried to kill him too. Brown blames his 2022 long-term hospitalization and near death on foul play, claiming he has a record of those involved in his attempted murder.
So Mr. Combs has been nothing but a cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. These are the acts of the innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looked forward to clearing his name in court.
Claims that Kim Porter, the mother of Sean Combs' children, did not die of natural causes. Well, again, if you don't know a horse, look at his track record. Listen,
Deal, who goes on to serve as Combs' bodyguard for years, confirms that there was frequent drug use at Diddy parties, and he often had a feeling Combs was roughing up Kim Porter. Deal claims he was once called to a hospital as Porter's emergency contact and found her bruised and shaken. Porter refused to discuss what happened. One of Deal's most explosive claims, that Combs could have been involved in Biggie's death after learning his biggest star planned to leave Bad Boy.
So you gotta. I want y'all to know that there was 47 other accusations made on Diddy. Diddy had hired hitmen to murder, I believe, the Pop and Biggie's murders. He offered millions. That's a lot of money. You know, and you got a brother by the name Keith Davis that's already in Las Vegas detention center, already awaiting trial. Got over 180, documents, these transcripts that Diddy was the boss, and that he hired the South Side Crips to do his dirty work. Now, you can't make this up, but I wouldn't be surprised that when the trial gets underway, I won't be surprised that before Mr. Davis started his trial over there, I won't believe that this will get relooked at. I also won't believe that when Jay-Z get tried and when he goes back for his hearing, that the Kathy Wright's death will be brought back up, and Kim Porter's, and we got people like Aaliyah, so we definitely got to bring those names back up. Also, we got to solve Biggie and Pop's murder.
Joining us, Rob Shooter, host of Naughty But Nice podcast, and for my purposes, PR advisor to Sean Combs. Now, we're talking about these revelations from Shure, and wasn't he married to Kim Porter?
Yeah, there's a lot of just chaos around Diddy, and may I speculate, Nancy, that what's going on at the moment might just be the tip of the iceberg, and Diddy seems to be the centerpiece of this puzzle. So I would not be at all surprised if over the next few months more and more evidence comes out. Kim Porter died in very mysterious circumstances, and I would not be surprised if that investigation isn't reopened. There's a lot of ugly, messy, dangerous behavior around Shorty Pose.
But when you say Kim Porter died under mysterious circumstances, what do you mean by that? She was very young and healthy, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was in her 40s and she had pneumonia and died. And when this happened, her friends, I spoke to several of them, were just shocked about this. This was a very wealthy, very well-connected person. She was the girlfriend of Diddy. She had his children. If there was anything that was wrong with her, she would have had the best medical attention in the world. So what happened? Maybe she did die of pneumonia. I'm just saying that I think there's more to this. It was a very young age. It was very, very shocking. And her friends have speculated for quite a while what actually did happen.
I'm curious, Alex West.
Paul, is this like the same death that we see Kim Porter that they talking about? We gotta want to get on Kathy Wright, because I believe at some point Jay-Z mistress this mysterious died, and they ruled it brain, out of wisdom. I don't think she died from a brain out of wisdom. Unless there was foul play, she was given a bad drug that she died from. He got a bad dose, and I won't be surprised if that case can get re-looked at. This as the Kim Porter's death. I wish at some point they can get justice for the two, because many of us would rather see justice You know what I mean? Especially when we got a corrupted justice system. You know what I mean? A lot of people know what happened. You know what I mean? And a lot of people know at one point Beyonce even faked, you know, her pregnancy. So the truth is going to be said at some point that Blue Ivy will get older. She already getting to that age that she can speak. And she know Beyonce was never her mom. So there's a lot of things, man. We just gotta die surf, you know what I mean? A lot of things going on. So I'm gonna roll this clip for you guys.
A lot of this is emerging from the Peacock documentary, but the state can't ignore it. Just like Sean Combs' case cracked wide open after Cassie Ventura, or someone in her camp, released the video of Sean Combs beating her in a public hallway. So arrogant, I guess he didn't think anybody would notice or care. And they didn't for a long time. Reportedly, hotel staff bribed, paid off, not to say anything. Once that video got released, the Fed's nose was rubbed in it. And then this indictment occurred. Now, this documentary is suggesting that Kim Porter did not die of natural causes. What do you make of that? Do you believe an investigation will be sparked because of this about Kim Porter's death?
So while the topic has been tiptoed around so far, I will say this is not the first time Kim Porter has been mentioned in this series of lawsuits. She was mentioned in a civil lawsuit at 1.2 where a individual claimed that she was forced to have intimate relations with Kim and that there were drugs involved. That was the first real mention of her in these lawsuits. And now you have this other topic coming out. You have this belief that Diddy might have killed her or been involved with her death. And so there is a chance that the prosecutors look into that. It's just difficult because authorities have already ruled that there was no foul play. But it's potentially something they could look into in the future.
Well, I think that there's more of a probability that her death will be reopened. Wendy Patrick joining me, veteran prosecutor.
Taxes was waiting. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day, so you can get up to $4,000 instantly. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
Wendy, there have been many times that a victim was deemed to have died of natural causes. I can think of a lot of them. In fact, I remember one defendant, Lynn Turner, and I investigated her case before I covered it. She had a boyfriend and a husband keel over from heart attacks. Wow, that's coincident, right? Turned out that she fed them poison jello shots. And then wore a miniskirt to trial. That didn't help anything. But their deaths were deemed to be heart-related. They weren't. Wendy Patrick, witnesses have been knocked off since time immemorial.
That's right. And you know the way we solve those crimes, Nancy, is not through the witnesses themselves that live to tell the tale, because they are so intimidated, it's hard to get them to come forward. We all know that we normally find out about these from the family members of the witnesses, from the family members of the victims, the friends, the coworkers, the concerned bystanders and citizens that saw something that made them uncomfortable and they felt they should report it. Why wouldn't that be the same case here? That's in fact is why we know as much as we do about, and you said it yourself, you said someone in her camp released that tape. It is never the victims themselves, they're afraid. We know that the documentary victims and witnesses have even asked for their voices and their likenesses to be modified so they don't get victim of retaliation. But this will come to light through good investigation around the periphery to find people that knew more and are willing to step up and cooperate with investigators.
The new documentary sparking speculation, Kim Porter was silenced before she could reveal secrets about Sean Combs. Karen Stark recently released was a book essentially made out of Kim Porter's alleged diary. I read the whole thing. In many instances, it seemed like there was a level of detail suggesting it was true. Now, family members insist Kim Porter's book was not her diary. Then who would have known all of about those details. Do you often have clients that keep diaries that you end up relying on?
Nancy, I actually not only have the clients that keep them, but I suggest that people keep a journal. It's a really good way to empty your mind before you go to sleep at night, to think about the things that you're doing in your life. I have no doubt that if they're saying she kept them and people saw them. And that is very frightening for him, I'm sure, because she might have been really about to expose him. This guy, let's face it, he's sadistic, he's abusive and narcissistic, so he thinks he can get away with anything.
As a bombshell documentary drops about Sean Combs, his defense team is arguing freak-off tapes really prove his innocence and that prosecutors are all sexist. We'll see about that. In the middle of that debacle, a victim comes forward claiming that Sean Combs, in view of others, with a TV remote. Listen.
An alleged victim of Sean Combs speaks publicly about the gang detailed in her lawsuit for the first time. Ashley Parham, who claims Combs and 3 other men assaulted and raped her in the presence of Combs Enterprises Chief of Staff Christina Coram, describes Combs putting a knife in her mouth and threatening to give her a Glasgow smile. Parham claims it was Coram who told Combs to stop, asking him to refrain from damaging the merchandise. Parham shakily recounts Combs removing her clothing, squirting her with lubricant, then using a TV remote to rape her.
Straight out to Wendy Patrick, veteran prosecutor and author, joining us. She is the star of Today with Dr. Wendy, KCBQ. Wendy, what is a Glasgow smile?
It's unfortunately something you see in the movies where you get a real cut on both sides to make it look like a smile. It's one of the things you normally hear about happening in custody or happening in mayhem cases. You don't often hear it happening during, quote, consensual sex. And this is part of the sort of the corroboration that's being provided by these past incidents, unwittingly, no doubt, by those that have been at these parties and are trying to make these things public. But it gets to be very, very
difficult. Well, a Glasgow smile is like this, Wendy. It's when an attacker takes a knife and cuts the victim's mouth from the corners of the mouth upward toward the ears, like the Joker, and they are forever left with a disfigured smile on their face. Now, interesting to Bill Daly, former FBI investigator. Bill, when a witness has a high degree of detail in a statement, it makes them more believable, right? This witness states that Combs threatened giving her a Glasgow smile before assaulting her with a TV remote. That's a level of detail that I wouldn't expect for someone to just fabricate, just pull out of the air.
Yeah, Nancy and you and I both know is that certainly more detail provides some kind of essence behind kind of validity of.
They know that these allegations stand true. It have to. Because what he did to Cassie, he would do with someone else. You know what I mean? Horrible, shocking that, you can't just make this stuff up, fam. What happened to Cassie in that hallway? So, who to say that he can do it with anybody, See, the whole point that I'm trying to say is Diddy relationship with Kim Porter, it wasn't all that good. Kim Porter knew Diddy infidelity and things like that. She wouldn't have been with him. And I believe that she did have a documentary that she was going to come up with. I believe at some point she was telling him to stop doing what you're doing. And like I said, Diddy didn't listen, man. And so I wish that they can find justice for Kim Porter's death and Jaguar Wright's death. I wish that, they can work on finding and solving the two deaths.
What somebody might be saying. Or on the other hand, too much detail, which can't be corroborated, or perhaps can be dismissed because of somebody's recollection or remembering who was there and they weren't there. They can actually be put in some other location at the time. Does provide some damage to those statements. So it is that kind of balance between, yes, believability with regard to the amount of detail, but also not too much detail for some of these witnesses where perhaps it will be otherwise refuted by other people and whereabouts.
Daily. How could, I guess it's possible, but is it probable that a female victim would make up, fabricate that she was with a TV remote and threatened with a Glasgow smile?
Yeah, those type of details are ones that you feel very visceral, very reactive, and not ones that you would imagine, that would suggest that somebody was fabricating them.
And then Alex West joining me, investigative reporter with The Mirror. Then there is a whole, let me just say, toxic brew boiling with Jay-Z and Kanye. First to Kanye. Reports surfacing in headlines that Kanye is hiding out in Tokyo to avoid coming back to the U.S. while Combs' case proceeds. What's that all about?
So Kanye has reportedly been away from his family, specifically his kids, for I believe over 100 days now. He's been spending a lot of time out in Tokyo. He's been seen by individuals out there, and he does have involvement with these Diddy cases. He's allegedly a part of these. He's named in these cases, and I've seen documents. I mean, he has other cases outside of the Diddy allegations on top of it. And I've seen documents of individuals suing him saying, hey, we can't reach him. We're having trouble reaching him. So now some are reporting.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Alex West, I guarantee you there's one person that wants him to stay in Tokyo, and that would be Kim Kardashian. That said, we've got the Kanye West case. Kanye West allegations brewing. All of these people are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But then we've got Jay-Z. Listen.
Another shocking revelation in the scandalous Sean Diddy Combs case, now officially including Jay-Z. In a civil lawsuit, Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z stand accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at an after-party for the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. The 13-year-old at the time says she had been trying to get into the VMAs by standing outside of Radio City Music Hall and walking up to limousines that were bringing guests into the venue. It works, as she is invited to an after-party by a limo driver who claims to work for Combs. He tells her she fit what Diddy was looking for.
The Jane Doe is handed a non-disclosure agreement to sign and a drink she believes is spiked. In minutes, she hears Diddy utter words she can still hear to this day. The plaintiff claims Combs approaches her with a crazed look in his eyes, telling her, "You are ready to party."
Alex West, The Mirror, explain to me how Jay-Z has been roped into this.
Yeah, so Jay-Z has specifically been named in this lawsuit. He was always known to be a close friend of Diddy. Of course, now he's saying that he wasn't involved in this incident. He's also saying it didn't happen at all. He takes issue with the location, the time frame. He takes issue with the lawyer who's on the other side of this case, Tony Busby, and he even looks to other specific details that this alleged victim is bringing out and saying that didn't happen.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes...
It said an Alabama woman came forward who says she was raped by Jay-Z and Diddy Combs when she was 13, can proceed anonymously from now her lawsuits against the rappers. A New York federal judge ruled Thursday in her written order of the U.S. District Judge Torres says the woman can proceed anonymously at this early stage, but she may be required to reveal her identity at a later date if the case proceed. That will allow defense lawyers to collect facts necessary to prepare for trial. The judge also cited substantial interest from the public. The Manhattan jurist also chastised Alice Spiro, the lawyer representing Jay-Z, who legally named is Sean Carter, what she described as his relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and attacks against the plaintiff's lawyer, calling them inappropriate, a waste of judicial resource, and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. See, Jay-Z, I say here, he's gonna be in trouble with this crimination. Getting his lawyer teams to pay for someone to dress up as FBI informant to go to Tony Buzzy law firm. It's sad, man. It's sad that I think right here he's gonna end up ruining his chance to get his motion granted. Because it says in a response to a ruling, Tony Buzzy, the plaintiff attorney, told the CBS News in an email Thursday evening that he doesn't typically comment on the court ruling, but that the coordinated and desperate effort to attack me as a counsel victim are falling flat. It says New have reached out to Carter attorney for comments. Combs remain jailed in New York awaiting for the criminal trial on federal sex trafficking charges. He has faced a wave of sexual assault lawsuits, many of which was filed by Tony Buzzy, a Texas attorney who says his firm represents over 150 people, both men and women, who sexual abuse. Okay, so we see Diddy's trials will be on the way in May 2025. Okay, let's roll this tape.
Lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
Dozens of sex trafficking charges leveled against Sean Combs, aka Diddy. Diddy said what? Now claiming that videos of those so-called freak-offs actually exonerate him. Somehow Jay-Z has gotten roped into this. Is he part of it or not? In the midst of all that, a bombshell documentary drops. Listen.
I am a civil litigator who has filed several cases against Sean Combs for sexual assault in civil court. I have been sounding the alarm about Mr. Combs for years. He is a man who has done awful things to hundreds, maybe thousands of people.
I'm wilder, I'm crazier.
I want to speak about this now because I witnessed everything.
I haven't said anything for so long, and it's built up. It's been 20 years. I don't trust you. Because I'm afraid that they might come get me for speaking.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Getting started is easy, and the process has already helped over 500,000 people and counting.
I called immediately. That from our friends at Peacock. It's called Diddy, the making of a bad boy. So Jay-Z and now maybe even Kanye roped into this whole thing. How Kanye fits into this, I don't know. I don't know any connection other than he's spotted at some of Sean Combs' parties. That's not enough to bring a case. But what about Jay-Z? What is the latest regarding Jay-Z, Alex?
So the story and the allegation is that a young woman was at the VMAs, was picked up for an after party, was taken to a house and sexually assaulted. That's her allegation. The latest is that, of course, Jay-Z is denying this. And on top of it, his attorneys are looking for every single hole they can pick out of the story. So they're looking at the location, they're looking at the time frame about whether or not the law is applicable. They're looking at the celebrity guests that the girl supposedly and claims she saw at the event and saying they weren't there that year, claiming that they aren't there this year. And even looking at Diddy and looking at whether or not his story is part of this, saying Diddy was at the club with J-Lo. So they're looking at every individual thing and making filings and really trying to get this case to be sorted, done with before it even makes trial.
And the last thing Jay-Z needs is to be part of one of these freak-offs. His lawyer is vehemently denying these claims. Listen.
Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, has pointed out that Combs does not and has never owned a home like the one the victim described, especially not within a 20-minute drive from Radio City Music Hall. Spiro also hunted down good Charlotte guitarist Benji Madden's whereabouts that night. While the Jane Doe claims to have spoken with Madden at the party, records show the band was on tour in the Midwest that night. Spiro also questions how a child ends up alone with the three most famous people in attendance, and why a female celebrity would stand by as a child.
Let me say this. Why will Jay-Z attorney Alex Spiro will agree with Jay-Z to get, victims, other people to go into Tony, Buzzy law firm and to play like their FBI informant? If this case wasn't serious, if Jay-Z could, because they got the motion granted, but why was there a need for Alex, Spiro to go into and to have to pay people, first of all, 10,000 random people to play as foreman, to go into Tony Buzzy law firm and to have him dismiss charges. If these allegations wasn't serious for Jay-Z, why would anybody have a mindset to, hire, random people to play foreman? If this gets all said and done, man, I think the judge will look at the motion. I think he or she will probably deny the motions. And I'm quite sure that they'll have a witness, to come forward.
Is repeatedly.
If you know or think you know anything about the claims brought against Sean Combs, here's a tip line. 1-800-200-7474. Repeat. 800-200-7474. Yes, Diddy has his own 800 number for victims to call. But right now, we stop and remember an American hero, Corporal Christine Peters, Greenbelt PD, Maryland, killed in the line of duty, served 22 years with Greenbelt PD, and survived by husband, now widower, daughter, and son. American hero, Corporal Christine Peters.
Now let's read this clip right here. This article coming from Kansas Owens. Kansas Owens is loud, wrong, and offensive again. This time, Ice Cube had responded. It says Owen is desperately remain so confident. So Ice Cube said a few things straight. It's after departing from the Daily, where conservative commentator Kansas Owens had been desperate to remain confident about any means possible. Most recently, she shared her opinions about the organs of gangster rap for this reason on X. It says here that on Friday, September 20, that Owens tweeted that gangster rap was never black culture. It was created by the feds who preferred deals to homosexual black men in prison and then turned them into official celebrities. The goal was to create false idols to destroy black American values. I will never change my mind on this. Ice Cube responds on a post. He replied, to set a record straight, we call it reality rap. The industry coined it gangster rap, Ice Cube said. So Ice Cube, we call it reality rap, for the industry coined it in gangster rap. The fans wanted a gangster rap, and that what they got, the feds didn't write none of my shit. I'm a real MC. Not only Diddy a sellout, we gotta get on Snoop Dogg and Soulja Boy and Nelly, all sellouts. They all sellouts for Trump, man. Look at this. You can't make this stuff up, man.
It's just tragic to me to see what's happening. It's not just Snoop Dogg and the rappers. It's Carrie Underwood, who, as you know, Harvey supported gay marriage and has come out around gun control in one of her songs called The Bullet. Snoop Dogg has this history. I interviewed Snoop Dogg when I was working for Quincy Jones 5 magazine, one of the first major cover stories, if not the first cover story of Snoop ever. And he has a long history in relationship to community. I mean, hip-hop was created by poor people, working class people, the same poor people that Dr. King told us not to forget are the folks who created hip-hop, African Americans, West Indians, and Latinx folks in New York City. And his culture has expanded, as you both know, it's a global industry, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but it's also something that's impacted literally 3 or 4 generations of people. And what they are trading in, be it Carrie Underwood as a country music star, or Snoop as a rapper, and Soulja Boy and Rick Ross and Waka Flocka and Nelly, they're trading in their very constituents for a bag of money. That's essentially what's happened here.
Is that what you attribute it to for these people who did perform, just wanting to collect a paycheck, or has there actually been a...
Look, man, there's no more money flowing in the hip-hop culture. So what they have to do now, Hollywood been burned down and destroyed, you know what I mean? They have to turn to the president, Donald Trump. It's like the next president, the next face of the president, who they want. Next, Steph Curry. You know, that's who they want next to run as president. And look at Steve Kerr. He wasn't representing Donald Trump, but now his home over there been burned. Now he's gonna have to settle. And see Snoop and them, they selling. Now all of a sudden they popping up. You seeing Rick Ross got boo in Chicago. They you know what I mean, they selling, you know what I mean, and they become Trump supporters, sellouts.
sea change, like Harvey said, within the hip-hop community?
I think there's a sea change of a lack of values across America, period. I mean, think about it. Can you imagine Bruce Springsteen or Johnny Cash or Nina Simone or Joni Mitchell or Bob Dylan, folks like Harry Belafonte? I can go down a list of people. Can you imagine it? Madonna, Prince. Can you imagine these folks actually getting in bed quite literally with someone who espouse things that are racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, anti-immigrant? I mean, we can go down a list of things that have been said. It's saying to me that you don't really even care about the people who have supported you all these years, including folks who might be black or queer, etc. All you care about is your own career, your own access, and again, that bag of money. So there's no shift in values, or there's no sea shift. There's just a lack of values completely. I've never seen anything like this. I never thought I would see Snoop Dogg in particular. Forget the other rappers, and people have talked about them, but I'm like, in particular, Snoop Dogg, I mean, this is someone who, is represents so much. He's an iconic figure, just like Carrie Underwood is. And when folks like that are siding with someone who's spreading these kind of messages, it's a stab in the back to all of us who have bought their music, who supported them throughout their careers.
And I was like, damn, that motherfucker has dementia. What's up, guys? It's Benny. Donald Trump is still 48 hours away from meme coin is here. Donald Trump now. So this is the let's celebrate and have meme coin is up $150 million for President Trump. This is what he had to say last night.
The terror against crypto is over. And the beginning of innovation in America for crypto has just begun.
So, ladies and gentlemen, David Sachs saying that at the crypto ball that made a lot of news. The progression from Snoop Dogg putting Donald Trump pantomime.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing more explosive allegations in a bombshell lawsuit. This one filed by his reportedly former executive assistant, who claims he was coerced into setting up drug-fueled parties and even performing degrading acts to prove his loyalty to the music mogul. We're going to break down these latest shocking details of alleged sexual coercion, abuse, and manipulation, and how this adds to the mounting legal troubles for Sean Diddy Combs. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Well, it is another day, and it is another Diddy lawsuit. Yep, this time from a man who says he was the former executive assistant of the disgraced rapper and music producer, and he's accusing Diddy of essentially sexual coercion, abuse, battery, sex trafficking, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and it all stems, he says, from what happened at these lavish drug-fueled nights called Wild King Nights. So this 32-page lawsuit, which was reviewed by multiple outlets, including Rolling Stone, was apparently filed in Los Angeles by a man named Philip Pines, who says he worked for Diddy from 2019 to 2021. So actually more recent than some other suits we've seen against Sean Combs that have been in the early 2000s or even the 90s. But according to reporting in the suit, Pines is alleging a few different things here. Now, before we even get into it, and there is a lot to get into, you might be wondering, what the heck does that name mean? What are we talking about when we said Wild King Nights? Well, part of this lawsuit alleges that Pines had to prove his loyalty to Sean Combs, who was dubbed the King, by performing sex acts for him, hence the name Wild King Nights. The suit even reportedly says that Pines was treated, quote, like an animal playing fetch in order to prove his loyalty. And by the way, that is just one of the many disturbing.
So Philip Pine was treated like an animal at these freak-off parties, man. He didn't know what was going on. It was just like, you at a freak-off party, you don't know what's going on. You probably been invited to an all-white party, and they had an actual little party that you was invited to, and you didn't know what was going on. You know, you've been handing a drink. That's all. That's the last time you can remember that you was just handing a drink, and then you feel oozed because, you know, that's why people that have been attendants and been sitting back and seeing these freak-offs for themselves, that's why people like Lil Bow Wow and everybody that been at these freak-offs say, like LeBron and them, say ain't no party like a Diddy's party. Because at the 1:30, 2 o'clock, maybe they should be telling you that, look, man, this thing finna get real bad, man. This, you know what I mean? Man, if man be up against man, they be kissing a lot of man up against each other. You think what they're negotiating, what they negotiating about. But, you know, you open that one room, another room leads to another room. You open another room, you see nothing but mans, and you know, you see a lot of freaky stuff goes on at the midnight hour. That's why, if you notice this, you know what I mean, there's people being advised, you know, after 1:30, man, 2 o'clock, man, you know, man, this is not a good time to be here, man. You see, it get really freaky, and people say ain't no party like a Diddy's party, man. This why you have a house, 100,000, I said thousands baby oils. Let's roll this clip for a second.
Disturbing details in this lawsuit. So to help me break it down, I want to bring on friend of the show, defense attorney Mauricio Padilla, who has been our go-to as we've been covering the Sean Combs saga. Mauricio, so good to see you. Thanks so much. Happy holidays. Thank you as well. Yeah, thank you. Before we get into the specifics here, you know, I feel like we're almost becoming numb to the lawsuit after the lawsuit after the lawsuit. And do all of the allegations against Combs so far that we've seen make the claims here, these new claims, do you think it makes it more or less true? In other words, does the fact that the lawsuit comes out in late 2024, as opposed to maybe at the beginning of the year or right after he was arrested, but, you know, on the heels of all the allegations so far, how should we all be thinking about yet another lawsuit against Sean Combs?
Keep being lazy about cleaning your apartment. No, seriously. Home Aglow will clean it for just $9. Oh.
I think little by little it's chipping away at whatever he's got left as far as reputation-wise. I mean, I think when I read it, the biggest key factor for me is that we're talking about somebody that was under his employ, if that allegation is true. If this was actually somebody that was employed by him from 2019 to 2021, he's got a problem on his hands, because it's not just a Jane Doe or John Doe or a random person. This is someone that was, you know, in his circle, under his employ. So the allegations are serious. And as we've seen, could be foreshadowing testimony in the criminal case. When I read this, I can't fathom that the prosecutors aren't going to want to talk to him or include him, especially regarding the allegations of scrubbing his cell phone and other devices for evidence, things of that nature, that when you read it, it really, you know, it goes hand in hand with the indictment.
I want to get into that, especially the time frame, because let's keep this in mind. Prosecutors have alleged criminal conduct from 2008 to 2024. This would be right in that time frame. So let's everybody keep that in mind. We'll talk more about it, but I have to get into a little bit more of these allegations, starting with what Pines says he was in charge of doing for these parties. What was his job? So one of the things Pines alleges here is that he was responsible for setting up these gatherings, which reportedly involved heavy usage of various illegal drugs and alcohol and sexual.
I just want to stop it. When you got the keys, when they give you the keys to Hollywood, they give you the keys. See, Diddy got the keys. He got the keys. He got the keys in Queens. He got the keys in L.A. Man, you know what I mean. This man threw the best parties that he invited everybody, and mama come through. That's all Diddy had to say, come through, and everybody and mama come to these parties, man. White parties Diddy throws. See, after every Grammy Awards, every Golden Global Music Awards, you know what I mean, every red carpet at the parties, at the parties is going to the Diddy's parties, man. After parties is Diddy's parties, man. You see, ain't no party like a Diddy's party. Diddy had a party that he had tenants. Everybody mama goes to these parties, man. Everybody gets involved, these freak offs. You know, and it's at a point that nobody want to say nothing. You got all these tenants, man. They don't want to say nothing, man. But if someone comes forward and say one thing, it opens up a box. It opens up another pandemic box that Diddy opened with Cassidy. So it will open up another pandemic. As someone come forward, it's going to open up a whole pandemic box.
Paraphernalia. And sometimes it would take place inside of Diddy's bedroom. He says that Diddy instructed him to prepare spaces with these specific items. Quote, plaintiff was instructed by Sean Combs on multiple occasions to ensure his personal bedroom and or various hotel rooms were set up with red lights, ice buckets, alcohol, marijuana joints, honey packs for male libido, baby oil, Astroglide, towels, illegal drugs, and I'm sorry to say this, power banger sex machines. That's the way it's categorized. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Astroglide is a lubricant, and also on that list allegedly was an erectile dysfunction drug called Cialis and the morning after pill. So these party supplies, he says, where it's kept in a bag called the MVP bag. According to Rolling Stone, who says it reviewed a copy of the lawsuit, Pine says he couldn't just leave the supplies in the hallway and walk away. No, he alleges he had to be let into the room, meaning he ended up seeing what was going on behind closed doors, so to speak. By the way, as you can see from a lot of the stories that we cover on Sidebar, it just goes to show you how important personal safety is. And by the way, that is especially true when it comes to protecting your privacy online. I think you would be shocked at how much of your personal information is out there, like your address, your phone number. Do you ever wonder why you get so many spam calls and emails? That's because all that information is all public. But that is where our sponsor, Incogni, comes in. So this is a service that helps you take control of your online privacy by removing your personal data from data brokers, the huge companies that sell and trade your information without your permission. Here's the kicker. These data brokers have to remove you from their database if you ask them to. Now you're thinking, I don't have time to call a data broker. Well, again, that's where Incogni comes in. They contact those companies for you. You don't have to do a thing. And then they alert you once that request has been completed. So I highly recommend giving Incogni a try. And right now, anybody who uses code SIDEBAR and Incogni.com/sidebar gets 60% off of an annual Incogni plan. Now, Mauricio, there's something something very interesting here I want to talk about, is that Pines makes mention of the fact that he was exposed to what was allegedly going on inside these rooms, that he couldn't just drop the stuff off and leave. If those allegations are true, how does that impact the strength of his claim, the strength of this lawsuit? Because allegedly he's a key eyewitness.
He's a key eyewitness, and not only that, but he says that he was forced to look at the...
See, Philip Pine, what he's seen in one room, he's seen some strange activity going on. So that opens up a door right there. It opened up the Pandora box about what he's seen. Now, if this man saw what he saw, you can best believe he probably saw celebrities that was in that room, you know. And it is only, you know, I mean, they got over 50 already people questioning already, witnesses already, they questioning. So you got 300 people that they subpoena, with already 50 people already, you know what I mean, testifying. Well, I mean, they got witnesses that were giving the statements. So now, you know, what I see, Diddy's his team is trying to fight off motions of some of these allegations. I told you guys, like in my last video, you know, when you get, you know what I mean, these law firms and you get these high pay attorneys when it comes to these profile cases, you have to be very aware, you have to be cautious that what they got or what you think that they got. If you think that they got this, man, you know what I mean, your attorneys at some point is going to tell you, man, look, man, we can get rid of that little paint that they got. But if it's more allegations and things like that, and it's getting to a point that they got more allegations than what, you know what I mean, he thinks. And he said, well, you know what I mean, I don't think I can get rid of all of it. And that's what attorneys do, man. When there's ever overwhelming evidence that the state has, that they got, there's really nothing they tell you that they can't do. You know, remember, I even said in my last video, if you got a little paint, they can probably remove it, get rid of the little paint. But if there's a lot of paint spilled and there's more people coming forward, it's kind of hard. Really kind of hard to, you know what I mean, fight off these witnesses. To fight off each witnesses can be tough.
Videos that memorialize these parties and these events when he was scrubbing the videos off of his phone, and he actually says that he was intimidated and threatened that if Sean Combs' family were to ever find the videos or images, that he would never work in the industry again. So not only was he live seeing the actual events that occurred, but he was also referenced to have to look at the videos and images that were when he had to scrub the phone. I mean, listen, this case is all encompassing to the point that P. Diddy has successfully vilified baby oil. And if anybody thinks that that's not true, this Valentine's, show up to your bedroom with a bottle of baby oil and see what your spouse says.
Wow.
They're not gonna like it. What is that?
What a year. What a year. You know, one of the things is, I mean, the thing that stuck out to me, you mentioned it before, these allegations are so consistent with what the allegations are that are laid out by prosecutors when they describe the freak-offs in their indictment, right? These sex-fueled parties, these drug-fueled parties, baby oil, the Astroglide, and it makes me wonder, A, do you think Mr. Pines is a cooperating witness for the government? B, if so, do you think he was one of the people that they originally spoke to when they were coming up with this, when they were drafting the indictment and coming up with the charges? Or do you think he's come out after? Because again, I think the timing of the lawsuit's important too, at the end of the year, right now. Talk to me about what you think his role might be.
If I had to guess, I would figure that the feds already talked to him, just because I know from my experience dealing with them how all-encompassing their investigations are. And if he really was his executive assistant from the time frame that they alleged in the lawsuit, I can't see a scenario where they wouldn't. I mean, they investigate regular cases to the point that that I'm shocked when I see it as a criminal defense attorney with regular people. When you're talking about a high-profile celebrity case like this, I can't fathom that no one spoke to this individual prior to this. So I would think that they did speak to him, and I can't imagine that he's not a witness, because the way that they work is they want everybody that can corroborate their theory of the case to be on their witnesses or to be somebody that they could call. And I can't think that if he actually was his assistant for this time frame, he would be an excellent witness for that.
See, the problem is we don't know who the witnesses are in that criminal case yet. I don't know when we're going to know. Maybe closer to trial, but you have to imagine that their case is built on more than just the testimony of one alleged victim, right? Victim one in the indictment. It has to be more. And even if we assume victim one is Cassandra Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend, who filed that initial lawsuit against him, recounted a lot of these details that are consistent with the indictment, talking about the freak-offs and all this, it has to be more than just her. So when I hear something like this, I will tell you, out of a lot of the lawsuits that I've covered over the past several months, this is one of them, one of the few that I actually think is the most consistent with what prosecutors are charging Sean Combs with, right? Sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, transportation to engage in prostitution. And it just makes me think that this is why he may play such a crucial role. We could be wrong, though.
And it also talks about Sean Combs physically attacking guests, and that he kicked somebody in the stomach, that he kicked somebody in the buttocks. So it's really tying together the theory that the prosecution has put out there in their indictment. And yeah, I mean, I believe that he is a witness. I mean, it's really mimicking a lot of the same things that the federal government is saying that Sean Combs was up to during this time period.
And because the government says, it was a racketeering conspiracy, it was a criminal enterprise. He had associates of his who would set up these events and also clean up these events, which, by the way, let me get back to this lawsuit, because Pine says his role didn't just stop at preparing this. He also says he had to clean up these rooms afterwards. And the cleanup is not any less disturbing, according to the lawsuit. Plaintiff would remove any evidence of drugs, condoms, sex toys, remove bodily stains like blood, urine, and fluids from any sheets, furniture, and pack away all the items used during Wild King nights. And all of this cleanup, he says, was also part of a cover-up, so that no one would suspect anything was going on. And that alleged cover-up also included leaving very large
Let my man out now.
Love during lockup is back.
I never thought I'd find my soulmate in prison.
With more twists.
Tips for the housekeeping staff to essentially prevent them from reporting anything. And going even further into the duties of his supposed cleanup. This also extended, as we were talking about, to wiping Diddy's personal devices of any evidence. According to the lawsuit reviewed by Rolling Stone, plaintiff was further instructed to scrub Sean Combs' personal devices, including but not limited to personal phones, laptops, tablets, of any compromising videos. And by the way, unfortunately in doing so, he says he was once again unwillingly exposed to the alleged conduct that was occurring. In order to accomplish this unreasonable task, plaintiff would have to again unwillingly see the video and then erase it. Okay, Mauricio, let me ask you this. How does he prove this? How does he prove all this happened? Is it just his testimony? Will you try to subpoena those people to come forward? How do you prove something was deleted? Talk to me.
Well, first of all, I can only imagine how sloppy Sean Combs was with evidence when he got busted with those 2 machine guns or 3 machine guns with the altered serial numbers. So I really don't trust Sean Combs or the people around him's ability to properly cover up anything. So I envision that you're going to see at trial payments from his Amex for flights for people, straight payments directly from his company to people. And then the time frame is important because this happened in hotels, in places that have surveillance, that there's records that could be consistent with his testimony about when he alleges that these parties took place. He probably has his own information about who attended the events. When you're somebody like Sean Combs and you're such a celebrity and you're engaged in this type of behavior, people around you are memorializing it on their own. So I feel like this guy probably was creating his case prior to him even filing this lawsuit back when it was happening. Because when you're, part of this, and if this is true, that he's, threatening you with the threat of being fired, with the threat of, being ostracized in the industry, he may have taken steps to memorialize this himself, saying, you know what, I may have to defend myself in the future, and I'm going to start keeping records of what's going on. So I wouldn't doubt it if we see something like that.
Does it hurt or help him that, and I'm talking about Mr. Pines, that he could be seen as an active participant in this, that he was complicit in it? Does it hurt his case? Does it hurt maybe if he takes the stand and testifies against Sean Combs at a criminal trial?
I mean, listen, it's a double-edged sword. If it hurts or it helps, yeah, he was complicit. He even admits in his lawsuit that he went as far as to start having sex with this woman when Sean Combs forced him, but then he felt bad. So a lot of people are going to be like, well, you felt bad about it, but you got an erection and you started to have sex with her, so how badly did you feel about it? And I'm sure that his lawyers, Sean Combs' lawyers, are going to attack that. Like, yeah, you were a willing participant. You actually had sex with this woman. You penetrated her, and all of a sudden, years later, you want to back out and say, I wasn't a willing participant. I was forced. And I think you're going to see that a lot in the criminal trial as well, where people, they're going to be like, oh, well, all of a sudden Sean Combs flew you to a destination, paid you $20,000 to take part in an orgy, gave you drugs, but you're the victim. You're the victim. You didn't want to do it. And I think that we're going to see that a lot, not only from Mr. Pines, but from a lot of the witnesses that are going to come forward in the actual case, where Sean Combs' attorneys are going to be, labeling them as willing participants in something that is not illegal. The problem is that, as we've discussed before, even if you were doing this on the regular since 2008, it's illegal. And it's illegal to pay somebody to cross state lines to perform a sex act. And it's illegal. It's illegal to cross state lines with drugs, to have these orgies. This stuff's illegal.
And one of the main underlying themes in the indictment, and I think you could argue here, is the element of using fraud, force, or coercion to force people to engage in these alleged sex acts. Because according to the review by Rolling Stone, Pines says if the devices, going back to the devices, for example, if the devices weren't wiped clean, he said there would be severe consequences. Plaintiff was instructed that if any of Sean Combs' family sees the videos, either on the personal device or cloud-based storage, plaintiff would be terminated with negative comments so that he could never be in the entertainment industry. That's something you mentioned, Mauricio. And I think that's interesting, by the way, on a side note. If that is true, why maybe in the face of all of these allegations, his family has stood by him, right? So if all of this is true, if all of this is true, and again, Sean Combs has not been found guilty.
Sean Combs have not been found guilty. But you guys, I'm gonna end up ending this live, taking it to another, room where it can be quiet, But I'm gonna start back this live shortly. I'm gonna have to end it here because we got into the 3 hours. So you guys, make sure you visit my channel, at Khalfani Howard 1826. I'm finna end the live here.